All right, here we go on a Monday. Cody and Gold, full crew back together. Well, part of the crew. I was about to say full crew. Drew will be back tomorrow. He's good, though. Two-thirds of the crew. We got Q producing the show.
It's the summer crew.
This is a throwback to last summer intern. We got Q producing today. I was saying full crew because I looked across the way. I'm like, oh, a familiar face. Yeah, Cody's back.
I was only gone one day. It's not like I was gone forever.
It felt longer, though, just because it was
really
the weekend, even though it wasn't as long as President's Day weekend. I don't know. Maybe it was the weather. Like, the days felt longer. Because it was, I guess, technically the days are longer now with the sun and everything, and it was beautiful weather as we continue to have in KC. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
I had a really busy Saturday, so the weekend kind of felt fast in that regard. Saturday's just like a busy day, so I spent part of Friday catching up on the rest of life stuff, and then Saturday, as you knew, I had this diaper party for my buddy, in which we I played the house for blackjack, and look, I was the villain. The house won the whole time during blackjack. It was a really unfair set of blackjack hands. But then outside of that, it was fun, Good weekend, good to be back. Hope you enjoyed some of the weather. Did you actually go outside?
I walked the dog a little bit. Yesterday we went on a nice little walk. Yeah, absolutely. Had the windows in the house open a little bit. All of that, yeah.
Do you turn off the AC, turn off the heat? Or just leave it at the temperature knowing that it's just not really working?
Oh, there was at one point the AC did kick on. Now, I nipped that in the butt pretty quick.
I was about to say, too early for AC.
It did kick on, though, because I turned the heat off, obviously, this weekend. And at one point in the middle of the night, I heard it kick on 2 nights ago. And I was like, whoa, what the hell is going on?
Easy.
But it got at that point, it got up to 74. I'm like, it feels a little warm in here. So, yeah, it's that weird point. It's February still, let's not forget. But it's been fantastic. Hope everybody's had a chance to take advantage of that. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. You can hit us up on the Jay's Southland Tow Service text line 913-586-7610. Maybe that's what Drew's actually doing. Maybe he just decided to golf. He said, screw it, guys. I'm just going to
Honestly,
golf.
Would you blame him?
Not really.
Pretty good day for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually do know, but it's personal. You know what? You try to get Drew to admit why he was gone.
Yeah. Let the speculation
I'm
begin.
making it sound like it's something nefarious. It's not.
Let the speculation begin. Thinking of speculation, and what we all thought at the time was ridiculous, and only one person was pushing it out there. Nobody believed it was going to be true. Now looks even more foolish today, and I'm referencing Mike Florio suggesting that Andy Reid was going to retire. And then you wake up today, and Tom Pelissero is reporting that Andy Reid and the Chiefs are beginning negotiations in the coming weeks on a new contract that should soon make him the highest paid coach in football. I know Bob had mentioned this a couple weeks back as well, if not a month or so, that potentially an extension was on the way. None of us here in Kansas City believed he was ever retiring. The extension part would make sense. That's even more interesting, or at least a new deal would make him the highest paid coach, because his current deal is up in 2025. But is it just new terms, or is it actually going to be a full-blown extension? It sounds like if they're going to make him the highest paid coach, they're probably going to add a couple years onto this thing on a deal that was set to expire in a season.
Oh, shocker. Old Florio talking out his ass. And look, that's not the main part of this story. I think there's more important things for us to obviously talk about as it relates to what this means for the Chiefs, how long he's going to coach, all these things to go with it. But first on Florio, he's an idiot. We told you this whole time. And just go back to the way he was wording those tweets. He will never, ever admit to you he was wrong. He was like, and look, I don't know what it was, man. It was probably like the copy boy was like, I wonder what would happen to my job if Reid retired. And Florio ran with that like there were some rumblings in the building that they were preparing for that inevitability. Do I think every professional franchise on the planet with a 60-plus-year-old coach has a 5-year plan and what the next coaching plan could look like? Of course I do. Did I ever think that meant Andy Reid was going anywhere? No, but this is great news for the Chiefs. Most of the estimates put Andy Reid is around the 7th or 8th highest paid coach in the NFL. Let's be honest here. That's not enough. The Chiefs have to have the highest paid quarterback, highest paid coach, and highest paid general manager in the league right now. They're a dynasty. Everyone deserves their checks. What's good about this is Andy, if he's going to get paid that amount, a lot easier to keep on chugging along there at the coaching level. If on top of it, you're making what, 18, 19, $20 million a year? What could that extension come into? Remember what Ben Johnson was asking for? Or reportedly what some of the other top coaches are making? He might make $20 million a year.
Yeah, I think $20 million is actually very much in play. And the good news there is that is strictly, a negotiation between Andy and Clark Hunt, we know, has no bearing on what you can do roster-wise. That's the beautiful thing with the front office extensions and coaching extensions. That is strictly just basically whatever ownership's willing to pay to make it happen. And, of course, he is deserving as anybody in the National Football League for a new deal and should give some comfort to Chiefs fans, even though I don't know anybody that really was believing the Florio stuff, but still, like, wondering, okay, maybe not next year, but is it a year from now or 2 years from now? If this extension or this new deal making him the highest paid head coach does happen here in the next month, it makes you feel better that, Cody, we aren't just talking about one more year. It'll be 3+ more years. I really believe that. We have said consistently, and I think it's pretty obvious, when you have Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in football, unless you have a health matter that truly you have to stay home from and need to be home, right? And you can't coach or you don't want to coach because of a health concern, why would you hang it up? You have a chance to distance yourself from the pack and maybe end your career as the greatest coach of all time. I really think I said it when Belichick didn't get a job, and we'll see if he gets another one next year, or the following year, I should say. But if Belichick doesn't coach in the NFL again and Andy coaches another 3+ and gets another ring, Andy Reid, the door is open for him to end up as the greatest coach in NFL history.
What helps him is he's going to have the same amount of success with his life-altering good quarterback, great quarterback, right, as Bill Belichick had with his, considering the years. He's never going to have the longevity with Mahomes that Bill Belichick got the benefit of with this. And look, this is always like, I'll be worried when Andy leaves. I obviously think he's one of the better coaches in the NFL. So, of course, I'll be concerned over, like, when he leaves and what that means. But I also think that it's fairly obvious that Brady taught us the age-old question of which one matters more. And the answer is the quarterback. It's always the quarterback. Andy Reid has always been a great coach. That has not changed. That is still the same thing it was before. What did it take for him to start winning Super Bowls, Gold? Having the best quarterback in the entire NFL. Once you put those things together, it's not that Andy couldn't. I mean, he's going to NFC title games, got to a Super Bowl, he's having success. Having a quarterback makes a difference. But I like the pairing for as long as I can pair them together. I'm thinking this means at least, and you and I have had this conversation, all right, how long do I think Andy Reid's coaching? At least 4 years? Like, I know that sounds optimistic, but I would say at least 4, and you and I were saying at least 5 years ago. So I'm tacking on more now at the end of this thing, and I'm assuming you're feeling the same. 3-4 years at least?
Yeah, I mean, if the extension happens, I think we're past just, at the end of 2025, revisit. I think now you have to look closer to 26, 27 before you would start to get really concerned. To me, it's just hopefully that it's not a problem, right? That it's going to be something that he gets to go out on his own terms. What I mean by that is, if the health is never an issue, I think he'll be coached until he's 70. I really believe that. I mean, I don't think this is somebody that just steps away because he gets tired. He's not ever getting tired of it. It is something that will have to prevent him from coaching. And when Mahomes is 28 years old, you just don't walk away from that. I mean, even 3 years from now, Mahomes will still be 31, going on, soon to be 32. Like, that is what's crazy about the situation. It'd be one thing if you told me Mahomes was 40 already. Well, then I'd say, maybe they go out at the same time. No, that's not going to be. The question will be, and I think now we're getting closer to the real conversation of who ends up actually lasting longer, Andy Reid or Travis Kelce. I think
Reid.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it's going to be Andy.
Kelce, I mean, I just still think that there's still the updated timeline for him, the same as they were, because we don't know how this deal is going to work out yet, but the timeline was the same. They were both no longer under contract in 2025. That was the original thought. I got to be honest, man. I don't think they're just paying Andy Reid to be the highest head coach without the years added. So now Andy will no longer be falling under that terms, and you can pay Travis Kelce now if you want, but he's got to guarantee you that he's planning on playing for a little bit longer before you start dipping your toe in that water. It's fantastic news for the Chiefs that once again they're working this out. And what we said before, there's no reason why you wouldn't pay Andy Reid, pay Brett Veach. Those are the easy checks to cut. Remember when I had asked, we were on Radio Realm, we had Clark Hunt on the show. I was like, hey, I know it's a lot of money, but when Patrick Mahomes comes asking for money, that's an easy check. He's like, yeah. He's like, it's a lot of money, but yes, it's like, sure. There you go. Sign on the dotted line. It's all yours. I got to imagine it's the same thing with Andy Reid.
No-brainer decisions, both that, with the results and also just who they are as people in your organization. Like you're not worried about anything signing massive contracts, big time money, highest paid money to any of the three names that you just mentioned. Heck, throw a fourth in there, Kelce, Mahomes, Reed, and Veach. Those it goes without saying, and the results completely speak for themselves at this point.
Would you, I guess, when it comes to Andy Reid and extension and Travis Kelce and Witchin, would you give Kelce an extension if he asked for it? I would.
He's got 2 more years left on the deal. So, no, I don't need
You're going to ride that out a little bit longer?
Yeah, I think that's...
If he said, hey, look, I'm looking at 4 years. You give me 2 more in the back end of this thing?
in 2 years.
Yo,
yeah, because
you're putting him on ice?
Well, because he's going to finish his career in Kansas City. I'll call the bluff on that. He's not going anywhere. He's either retiring as a Chief or just not. He's not going to finish his career somewhere else. He's got 2 years left on his contract. So yeah, there's no need to do an extension on Kelsey's part. No, absolutely not.
I know you guys had Vernon on Friday for a couple hours of the show. First thing before I ask you about something that took place in spring training this weekend. Did you guys get into the baseball uniform and the very unfortunate level
the see-through
of the
pants? Yeah, you wake up on Friday, you're scrolling through Twitter,
Goodness.
and you see Fernando Tatis. Way more of Fernando Tatis than
you were planning on seeing?
any of us needed to see. Yeah, no, you got the other player, I can't remember who it was for the Giants. Yes, we did talk about the see-through pants are a major issue in baseball. So much so that multiple teams are wearing the old pants. And then also even the top of the uniform, the lettering is way smaller. It looks like your little league team.
Yeah, Chico bail bonds.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Good.
Yes, no, we did get into that.
Okay, good, great. I wanted to make sure that I was going to be really disappointed in this show. If for some reason, even though it had become a major topic, we didn't talk about see-through pants.
We talked about see-through pants and some balls, and we talked about nipples on Friday's show.
Why nipples?
Because there's plastic surgery, a new trend in New York. Men are spending $5,000, Cody.
$5,000
for plastic surgery on their nipples to make them look almond shaped like David Beckham's. Apparently.
Okay, well. That's a big waste of money.
And Pete Sweeney informed us of pepperoni-sized nipples. Yeah, that was the whole conversation we had.
Huh. I have very small nipples, if you're curious.
Are they almond-sized?
No, they're kind of like penny-shaped. They're like little circles. If you're curious, now you know.
We've got video stream as I.
Should I just lift the shirt?
I offered to Pete Sweeney. I said you can just. There's no FCC requirements on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's, that doesn't call it the decency standards. But from a baseball perspective yesterday, we once again got a little preview of our guy, Cole Reagans.
Yes.
I'll be honest, I was a little bit worried about him dropping a 101-mile-per-hour pitch in a spring training game, just for most people. Normally, it's a build-up in velocity. Normally, you would expect him to be throwing 100 later on in spring training. But I'm going to ignore that for a minute because there's other parts that I'm excited about. He became, again, this key example of the people that I'm still having these conversations with, like in my personal life, and I think you are too, which is the people who still conflate the old regime with the new regime and how JJ and Dayton came from the same cloth, but do not do baseball the same way. And looking back in that trade, we already know it's a home run. We agree that that was a great trade for the Royals. But what it signified in retrospect to me was that they actually care about strikeouts. And then I looked at the players they signed this offseason in the starting pitching department and the bullpen guys they went with versus everybody else they drafted before. And the Royals did not prioritize strikeouts until J.J. Piccolo took over. Dayton thought you could just get on without him, or at least seemingly didn't care to think that they were a priority enough. And it was this pitch-to-contact mentality that I used to tell you that I hated about their backspin to create velocity home run approach that was wrong. Cole Reagans is an exact example why I think their pitching staff's going to take a big leap. They, again, this offseason prioritized strikeouts. I know Greinke wasn't that guy, but outside of that signing in J.J. Piccolo's career, as the GM, and it's a limited one, he cares. He cares. And if you look at the Royals' success, turns out they strike people out when they're good.
Well, I think that's what they've done with the bullpen. I know we're talking about Reagan's a starter here, but the entire bullpen and reshaping the bullpen, some of the, not only Will Smith, but some of the other pieces they have brought in. You look at what we perceive to be the likely bullpen at this point, although, of course, when you're talking about who could lose the fifth starting job, maybe that impacts the relievers. Carlos Hernandez is dealing with some soreness again. But they've got some strikeout pitchers in the bullpen to where, and they're veterans that have proven it. So it's a little bit different of asking, young pitchers to come in and, hey, so much last year was what? Like throw strikes. So that was a huge emphasis.
Raid the zone.
Yes, there you go.
Were you looking for the slogan?
Raid the zone. And that applies, but they've got so many people that are already proven to do that I doubt you'll hear raid the zone as much. because I think there's known commodities to do that. Cole Reagans, 101. That would be more concerning if perhaps he didn't go through the offseason program that he went to. It sounds like he's already been ramped up for a while, and that's why it's a little bit different. It was also one pitch. One pitch to get the strike.
They weren't all 101.
He wasn't consistently throwing 98 to 101. He looked great, though. He definitely looked fantastic.
We've talked about it in this show because you've got to bet on Cole Reagans to lead the American League in strikeouts or baseball.
Yeah.
That's tougher, and there's a reason why he's a longer shot than some of the other consistent ones. Because immediately someone was in my mentions and was like, this guy led the league last year. I'm like, do you understand how betting works, sir? Like, there's a reason why somebody is the favorite. And you can bet on the favorite to lead the league in strikeouts again if you won. That's not where value is played.
Yeah, when you have an 80-1 bet on Cole Reagans to lead the league in strikeouts or the majors in strikeouts, you feel decent.
It's like betting on Chris Jones to win. From the odds perspective, it's like betting on Chris Jones to win Defensive Player of the Year, I think, over the last couple of years. He's been like a 50, 60, 70, 80-1 shot, depending on the year going into it.
Well, that's for MVP.
For MVP.
He's been like 15-1 for defensive player.
Okay, so for defensive MVP.
Yeah.
Or, just MVP in general. So, I mean, it's a long shot for a reason leading into it. But when you watch Cole Reagans, did the Royals really finally win a trade in such a massive way that we all get to joke about it? This is starting to have some of that early buzz of, you had mentioned earlier, for different reasons, Fernando Tatis, or some of these other trades were like, God, that was lopsided. Like, go back to the Tampa Bay Rays are on the plus side of this seemingly consistently, like when they traded the Chris Archer deal. This already has the early buzz of that, doesn't it? Where you're like, boy, they might have just straight up fleeced a team. Because if they found a number one starting pitcher for a year-long rental in Aroldis Chapman, then they got the steal of the century.
I mean, I would argue it already looks like the steal. I mean, it already kind of is, isn't it? Because Chapman you signed in the offseason a year ago, and everybody knew it was a prove-it type of deal for if he just had 2 or 3 months, then they're going to flip him. And they ended up flipping him for Cole Reagans. And the minute he put on a Royals uniform, there were some tweaks that they saw, and he bought into it. I think that's probably an underrated thing, too. How many times have we discussed some players when they go to other places? We've done on the flip side. When Jacob Junis went to the Giants.
That's the exact example that JJ pointed out, in fairness.
Oh, did he? Okay. So
on the show, remember?
Yeah. Well, you found it last season, not recently. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, Junis was willing to make changes once he went to the Giants, not willing to make them maybe here. Cole Reagans, I don't know if he was given those same adjustments with the Rangers or not. He was willing to make adjustments when he got here, and he's been phenomenal. And at the final 2 months last year, he was pitching like a Cy Young candidate.
This is also what comes down to from it's not just convincing the player to have organizational trust before they have to make a change. It's having people who are teaching pitching to trust. You do remember Jacob Junis, it was Cal Eldred trying to tell him to change something about it. Probably a tough sell, right? They weren't up to the modern standards of pitching development and training. So, of course, some of those guys were having a hard time buying into that notion. There was zero proof that they could develop or were having success developing pitchers at that point. God, Cole Reagans, if they just found one little snap thing to unlock and he's going to be 101 mile per hour, 200 strikeout guy, it's going to be a fun year for him.
Well, they play in a division that not is it just poor from a record standpoint.
Oh, they strike out as a division?
Top three of the top 7 AL strikeout teams last year were in the AL Central.
Great.
So, I mean, it sets up, you play everybody, but we know you play your division more, and it sets up very nicely. Got to be excited about Cole Reagans, and I like the fact that, the guy that's pitching today for the Royals, Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha, take some pressure off of what he has to think going into the season. Cole Reagans doesn't, in his mind, hopefully think he has to be the dude.
I do still kind of want to see him on opening day, though.
I would as well. I wonder, do you think that, I mean, I know the difference is Wacha and Lugo, they didn't sign them to, 4-year deals, 5-year deals. So I could see them still letting Cole Reagans be the opening day starter.
I can see when you do Wacha because he's just like the vet who's done it, knows how to do it. You don't have to put that pressure you'd mentioned on Cole Reagans. But Reagans was here last year.
Fans
he proved a lot for you.
See Reagans on opening day. Give the fans something. Come on.
Give us something to watch.
Continue the momentum from the offseason.
Exactly.
Coming up in 10 minutes, one thing that's getting brought up again, and I think it's only because it involved a Duke basketball player. We'll get to that momentarily. Free agency is going to start here soon, and even though Russell Wilson continues to make it seem like, he'd be open to returning to Denver, we all know he's going to get cut by the Denver Broncos. And so what are the next 5 years hold? What does the next year hold? Can he be a starter somewhere? He was on with Brandon Marshall, the I Am Athlete podcast. Listen to what he had to say.
I got more fire than ever, honestly, especially over the past 2 years of what I've gone through. whether if it's in Denver or somewhere else. I hope it's in Denver. You know, I hope I get to finish there. I committed there. I wanted to be there. You know, I want to be there. For me, it's about winning. Over the next 5 years, I want to win 2. I want to feel the chill of that trophy again. You know, I love the city and everything else, but you know, you also want to be a place that wants you too. So the thing that I want to do is win, man. That's all I care about.
Glad we got the music.
The R&B at the end there, just
glad we got some music.
feels very Russell Wilson in a way.
It wants to win 2 out of the next 5. Come on now. Like what? Look,
is he backing up Mahomes?
I'm not saying. Yeah, that was the running joke last night for sure. It was like, oh, she's going to be backing up quarterback Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. He might get 2 rings that particular way. I just don't know where he lands anyway next year that puts him in a contention spot to begin with. So there's a report that maybe he would take a smaller deal, vet minimum, to ensure a starting spot, like some team that's not going to give him starter money, but he just wants to prove he can be effective again. I thought last year he wasn't good, but he also was fine. You know, the team sucked, but Russell Wilson was much better last year. He was so bad 2 years ago. He's not going to be in Denver. They're going to cut him. And I just don't know, other than the ridiculousness of suggesting he's going to win 2 rings. The guy,
which even he doesn't believe, I'm sure.
Probably not. I would hope not. I mean, I'm also going to believe that in the next 5 years I'm going to go on dates with Sydney Sweeney and all kinds of people. You know,
she's hosting SNL this week.
She is. That's why I brought it. Yeah, she is. She is hosting SNL on Sunday night or Saturday night.
Look,
is there a team that's a mediocre quarterback away? I can't think of one.
Is that ever
not
the
to
case?
winning a championship to go on
to
a
being mediocre?
Run?
Sure.
Well, that's why, like the Falcons, if they sign Kirk Cousins, the Falcons, I could see them winning 1 or 2 playoff games.
Sure.
I don't think suddenly the Falcons are Super Bowl champions. But yeah, so like there's the balance. Russell Wilson, can he take the Pittsburgh Steelers from being the last wild card spot in a 9 or 10 win team to winning 11 or 12? Maybe, but to being a true threat, I don't believe so. He's not that quarterback.
Why? Russ, man, look. Just find anybody who will let you start and go from there. Don't talk about Super Bowls until you find a gig. I'm not 100% confident Russell Wilson starts for an NFL team this year. Now, I'll say this in Russell Wilson's defense. As you pointed out, he had an average year this year. He was like fine. He wasn't good. He wasn't awful. He was whatever. But he got run out of town not because he played like garbage the whole time he was under Sean Payton. He got run out of town because Payton never wanted his ass. I said this from the very beginning, and it was absolutely more true every second. Sean Payton did not want the Denver Broncos job. He wanted other, better jobs. The only team who was offering him a job was the Broncos. Sean Payton did not like Russell Wilson. He did not want Russell Wilson. He wanted a different quarterback. He was stuck with his ass. So he wrote it out for a year. It was mediocre. Now he's going to run him out of town now that he gets the say. So it's not like Russell Wilson might still be attractive to another team as a starter, but he's got to square that away before he can even joke about stuff. Here's my suggestion to him. Get an NFC team, man. Do not think you are getting anywhere near a Super Bowl.
So where's he going? Where's he going? Minnesota?
Yeah. Kirk Cousins goes signs a 3 for $130 deal with the Falcons, and you go toss it to Justin Jefferson for a bit, presuming they don't trade him out of town for you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on where do you think the Vikings are at as an organization. We know they're going to try to get something done long-term with Justin Jefferson. How close are the Vikings? In their own division, we know the Lions just won that division. They were in the NFC title game. The Packers, everybody's in love with right now heading into next season because Jordan Love and what he did in the back half of the season. The Bears, if they draft Caleb Williams, who knows? I mean, if he's the guy that some people think he is, they could have almost instant success. That's a lot of pressure, but that's a feasible thing based off of some of the expectation around Caleb Williams. So where are the Vikings fit? Are they better off signing Kirk Cousins to a couple of years, signing Russell Wilson for 1 or 2 years to just be a 9-win team? The worst thing you can be is a 9-win football team or 10-win football team in the NFL and be nowhere, just be in the middle of the road.
But if Russ will really take a league min deal, then maybe you can always talk yourself into, if he'll take a vet min, you can talk yourself into, what if we build a great roster around a vet minering quarterback who's okay?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a great plan, but it's a plan.
Russ wants to feel the chill of the trophy again, Cody.
Let's go. Let's ride, baby. Ooh.
When was the last time he felt it? Like 10 years ago? How long ago did he win his Super Bowl?
Feels like that if it
13?
hasn't.
I mean, I think it's been a decade, man.
Probably right.
He didn't even remember what it's like to feel a playoff win anymore.
Coming up next, though, we'll get into why one thing is a bigger controversy than it needs to be. Plus, somebody's going back to college next.
Cody and Gold. Watch the show on YouTube by subscribing to the @610 Sports KC channel. 610 Sports Radio.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru. We've added even more incentives to buy from us. An exclusive lifetime warranty. Your first maintenance is free. Lee Summit Subaru just discounted up to $3,500 off MSRP or 0% financing for 63 months on the 2024 Subaru Outback. Bonus cash, 0%, free maintenance, and a lifetime warranty. That's why you'll fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru. The Subaru A Lot to Love event.
The service contract is not provided or backed by the manufacturer of the vehicle. The manufacturer of the vehicle is not responsible for the claims or repairs under this service contract.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru. We've added even more incentives to buy from us. An exclusive lifetime warranty. Your first maintenance is free. Lee Summit Subaru just discounted up to $3,000 off MSRP or 0% financing for 63 months on the 2024 Subaru Forester. Bonus cash, 0%, free maintenance, and a lifetime warranty. That's why you'll fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru. The Subaru A Lot to Love event.
The service contract is not provided or backed by the manufacturer of the vehicle. The manufacturer of the vehicle is not responsible for the claims or repairs under this service contract.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and you've heard me talk a lot about how treating low testosterone can improve your sleep, your workouts, your energy levels, and more. But today I want to talk to you about your sex drive, because low testosterone can have a significant impact on your desire for intimacy. It can even be a factor in erectile dysfunction, and if you're in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship, a low sex drive could really be a problem. The good news is that if you're like most guys, treating your low testosterone could really change the way you feel about sex, giving you back the flame and desire that is so important when you love someone. So if you're feeling sluggish and tired, if you're not sleeping well, if your workouts aren't that great, and most of all, if your sex drive is more like a putt, make an appointment at Heartland Men's Health and have your testosterone levels checked. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 2 offices, Overland Park, Kansas, and Independence, Missouri.
Hi, it's Trey Smith, and in order for our team to get a victory, we need honesty, teamwork, work ethic, humility, and the golden rule. That's why my truck is from the dealer that embodies all those values, Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also supports Giving Hope, whose sole purpose is to feed and clothe the needy in Wyandotte County and beyond. Giving back in the highest integrity, that's how Jeff and his team do business. For your next vehicle, visit or go to victorychrysler-dodge-jeepram.com.
Get ready for the live tennis event of the year, the Netflix Slam, on March 3rd at 12:30 p.m. Pacific. Join 22-time Grand Slam champion and tennis legend Rafael Nadal as he takes on world number 2, Carlos Alcaraz, and witness a tennis showdown like never before. This live Netflix sports event promises unparalleled tennis action, so don't miss the thrill. Mark your calendars for March 3rd, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. It's Game, Set, Match on Netflix.
Some people just know there's a better way to do things, like bundling your home and auto insurance with Allstate, or hiring someone to move your piano instead of doing it yourself. So, do things the better way. Bundle home and auto and save up to 25% with Allstate.
Bundled savings vary by state and are not available in every state. Saving up to 25% is the countrywide average of the maximum available savings off the home policy. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-727-9105. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105.
Royals fans, are you ready for opening day? In one of the most anticipated seasons in team history, don't miss a second of the action with every game live on the free Odyssey app with 610 Sports Radio. Catch Vern before and after every game. Plus, join Denny, Ryan, Jake, and Stu all season long on your home for Royals baseball in Kansas City. 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app. Download it today. AUDACY. Live games available for fans and market only.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Brought to you by The Farmer's Dog. Get more info at thefarmersdog.com/nomagic. From better poops to more energy. When you switch your dog's food to The Farmer's Dog, the effects can feel magical.
What sorcery is this?
None at all. It's just real food made for the health of dogs. Get 50% off your first box at thefarmersdog.com/nomagic.
Just getting started here on a Monday, Cody and Gold. So there's one thing that I think is getting way more attention, and it's only because it involves the Duke Blue Devils. And it would be the case if it involved Kansas or Kentucky as well.
The same like 5 or 6 teams we'd all list off, sure.
But it was college basketball upset win, right, for Wake Forest. Big-time win. Wake Forest knocks off big bad Duke, okay? Court storm happens. The same thing we've seen happen multiple times a week here recently, actually.
Yeah, it seems like it's been a little more frequently.
Court storms just happen in general. There's not a rule book for it, but certainly it used to be like always, you knocked off the number 1 team or top 5 team. Now it's like, well, they were ranked, so it just doesn't matter. Anyway.
They were ranked and we're at home, so we're coming on the court.
Court storms definitely happen. But during the court storm, one of the Duke players, Kyle Filipowski, got bumped into, knocked over, and he's getting helped off the court. I think now we've learned it's a sprained ankle. Fortunately, nothing more serious. But they have every right to be pissed off about it. But he said it was intentional in his post-game comments. And then immediately you've had what I would think is an overreaction from a lot of people that cover the sport saying, see, this is why we don't need court storms, and they should be banned in college basketball. Look, I'm not anti-court storm. I've actually stormed a football field once, as a matter of fact. It was fun to do in college because that's what it's supposed to be. It's college kids having a good time. I don't think this should be the example people use to cancel court storming because 90% of the programs, Cody, have figured out the safety aspect to this. We've all seen it, right? You get the line of 15 security guys in yellow jackets, and they've got the cord, the rope, I should say, that creates that single line that protects the players and the coaching staff. And usually that works. It hasn't worked when John Curry's the athletic director, okay? John Curry, former K-State athletic director, now the AD over Wake Forest. If you go back to 2015, just a simple Google search, John Curry court storm. February of 2015, very similar explanation he gave then when his staff didn't have a plan put together with the security to prevent a court storm and causing some issues that could arise. Same thing. I just don't think he cares about it and values the safety on these court storms. Don't let John Curry's ineptitude impact court storming for everybody else.
Great. I know we're not all going to agree on this, but let's agree on the fact that let's establish one thing. John Curry's an idiot and has been an idiot for some time. This is not new information, so we're good there. I am pleasantly happy and surprised because I got to be honest, your Kansas brethren are the biggest fuddy-duddies about this whole stupid thing. We don't have to court storm at Kansas.
But we don't have an
We're too
opportunity.
good.
Yeah, they don't have an opportunity.
Yeah. I don't want to hear this nonsense.
Well, they don't have an opportunity. That is the fact. Yeah.
They've had plenty of opportunities, you mentioned, in football to do it, and happily drag their goalpost all the way down the lake. And by the way, I'm cool with that too because it's fun.
Exactly.
Don't take away fun things just because one bad thing happened once. Like, I go back to, we talk all the time about rule changes and when they were necessary or unnecessary. You know what was one of the most unnecessary rule changes of the last 10 years? Running into the catcher in baseball. Because Buster Posey got hurt once. We got rid of one of the most exciting plays in the entire sport because one young player who was good got hurt once. That's what this is. It's Duke. Not a single person, we wouldn't even have come on the air today if people were complaining because someone at Miami got hurt in a court storm with a sprained ankle.
Yeah, there's
wouldn't
five schools.
even have taken it to the air.
Yeah, there's 5 schools that would justify this kind of, not even justify, but cause this sort of action and response. And I truly think most of the schools have really figured this out. Because there's a clear safety concern. I think we understand.
Just rub it off.
But most schools have figured out how to make this work. This wasn't a last-second shot either. That's why I'm actually putting the blame on John Curry, the athletic director of Wake Forest. This wasn't, Wake Forest, full court, buzzer beater. Oh, my gosh, how would they be prepared? It was trending,
going that way the whole time?
It was trending that way with under a minute to go. It was pretty clear what was going to happen. And so you should have had a plan like most of the schools do with security. Their security doesn't need to worry about the students rushing to the court. Security's job should be to get
We're about these 20 people,
get
including
to
staff,
get to the scorer's table, rope it off. We've seen other schools execute this perfectly and prevent an incident like this potentially happening again. This is just somebody not actually putting a plan in place and caring about safety during this circumstance.
Also,
but no, we don't need to ban court storms.
Also, good luck, I guess.
Yeah, how do you enforce it?
It's 20,000 people.
Yeah, with 20 security guards.
What are you going to do? Fine every student off his meal card who comes onto the court? What's the point? Now, here's another dumb rule. This goes back to the same thing. Like we talk about like show calls and all these other things, like these kids would be like, we're gonna ban Kansas from a tournament game because they cheated 10 years ago. Stop trying to punish people who have nothing to do with it. All the players did was win a basketball game. It's not their fault fans went onto the court. So if you start making this like a university punishment, like, well, you forfeit the game or you lose a scholarship if you have 5 court stormings. What's the point?
Well, also, you're not
or fine the university. All stupid.
Yeah,
you're not punishing anybody who did the thing, and it shouldn't matter. It's fun. College athletics are supposed to be fun. It's the last remaining non-business part of college athletics, right? Just like we're kids, we're goofy, haha, fun times.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to kick the kids out of school. What are you going to also kick 5,000 students out of school if that's going to be your punishment? Yeah, there's no way to really stop it, but you can protect the players better. And I think a majority of these schools have actually done a pretty damn good job at that. This was a lapse because I still think there's a common denominator here, and it happens to be the athletic director at Wake Forest. Just someone else points out Caitlin Clark at Iowa.
She got run over.
She got ran into, during one of the court storms. So it happens. There's going to be situations where it is not avoidable. I think if we're looking at consequences and ideas, I saw one idea was interesting. I just don't think it's realistic, which was, is there a way to like delay, basically, where you're like, oh, you got 15 seconds after the game? Well, that defeats the whole point of the natural fun and reaction of the sport of rushing the court. Do you think it would really work if they put a timer and they said, give us 15 seconds? And what, the students count down? I mean,
if you're guaranteeing them a chance to be on the court, then they're on the court.
Is that a new tradition where then the students start counting down? And they're literally like the ball drop and it's like 10, 9, 8, and it's all the way till 0, and then they storm. I don't know how realistic that is. I'm open to that idea a little bit. But overall, yes, the 19-year-old kid that's having a good time in college, I don't think you need to take away court storming because one institution here, again, hasn't figured out how to protect them.
2 underreported parts of this story, in my opinion. 1, Kyle Filipowski could only play at Duke. Listen to that name. And that is just, God, classic Duke basketball player name. I mean, right? Didn't even have a choice to go to another school. Kyle Filipowski, that's a Duke player. You and I both know it. That's a Duke player.
Absolutely.
That's his name. Also, there is video evidence that kind of looks like maybe he's trying to trip people as much as they're trying to trip him,
the
okay?
overhead shot.
A Duke player trying to trip people? Never heard of that.
Yeah, Grayson.
They've never done that, have they?
Yeah. Grayson Allen.
Mm-hmm. So he's trying to trip people. His name's Kyle. It all just tracks, you know?
Your sarcasm is so thick that somebody else is going to trip over it.
I just don't think that it's I just don't think it's that big a deal. Who cares? They're just having fun. Guy got a sprained ankle. I don't know.
I'm assuming this text is sarcasm from the 913 or from the 620. It says put a 10-foot tall hockey glass around the court. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt and assume that's sarcasm. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that's sarcasm and hope.
Okay.
I'm gonna really hope that's a sarcastic text that we're getting. 913-586-7610. Have you ever been part of a court storm or a field storm?
Nope.
It's fun. It is fun.
Oh, I bet it is. Nope. I've got nothing against it. Seems like a good time.
Yeah.
I went to UMKC for basketball.
So you're telling me though, if you go up to North Dakota and it's a Summit League championship for
I don't think everyone's going to storm the court there.
And if they win the championship
Just
to go to
me?
the NCAA tournament, you don't think that the UMKC faithful would storm the court?
It's hard to say.
Oh, I bet you they would.
I mean, if they're in the finale, maybe, right?
Well, I'm saying the championship to get to the NCAA tournament. Your Roos are playing good right now too, Cody.
They are. I was, you know what? I was like really digging into the stats a little bit. They're playing close against not great teams, but they're also beating good teams. So I don't really know if I should be, like they should have probably beaten Omaha more, but there's only 2 games left in the regular season.
Are they going to be a top 4 seed?
They're going to be 4 or 5, and they have beaten 3 of the top 5 seeds in the tournament in the last 6 weeks. So they've beaten the 1, 2, and 4 seed in the tournament right now in the Summit League in the last 6 weeks. They're playing some good ball.
Okay.
And they took one of the second or the third ranked team to overtime. So I don't know. Maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the year I'm finally going to go watch UMKC playing Dayton or whatever,
Thinking of college, we did get news over the weekend from Adam Schefter that former Chiefs offensive coordinator and assistant head coach Eric Bieniemy, who of course just spent the last year in D.C. with the Commanders, is going back to college, is going to take a offensive coordinator, assistant head coach gig with UCLA. Remember, Chip Kelly left UCLA.
Yep.
So new staff, and now he's going back to the college game. 3 years ago, his name came up for the Colorado search as the head coach.
He interviewed for it, technically, or at least I don't know if it was ever interviewed. He went and met with somebody at the University of Colorado.
Fast forward to 2024, and he's now going to UCLA just to be an offensive coordinator. And I actually think
like a bummer, kind of.
Well, it's definitely a bummer based off of how the conversations have been the last couple of years, and it was pretty clear he wasn't going to ever get a head coaching opportunity in the NFL. I wonder, does his style, with all the reports that came out of D.C. this year, that players didn't like him? Let's just be honest, they didn't. And I know here in Kansas City, plenty of players came out and supported him. I'm not doubting that. We saw it, and I do think there's something to be said that if he's already a part of an established winning culture, I think his style in the NFL works. When you're around losers and talking about just win and loss losers, you're not going to be able to probably have that style. And in D.C., with the players that they had there, that wasn't a good fit, clearly.
Yes.
So he goes to college where he can teach, he can help young men become men, like he talks about all the time. Like I think his style, where he's probably going to be more respected by even the 19-year-old kid than he was the 27-year-old that's making $30 million. That's like, this isn't 1985, 1990 anymore. You can't treat me that way. You can't have this disciplinary attitude. That's just not who we are. I actually think it could work in college a little bit.
I feel bad for him because I felt like he was never given the opportunity, and now I feel like he's essentially taken a downgrade 3 consecutive years. He went from head coaching candidate, like real head coaching candidate, to offensive coordinator for a not good football team to offensive coordinator for a college team. It's like it just feels like his career is heading in the wrong direction. My fear over the college thing, and I do think there was a time in which he is that people who coach the way Eric Bieniemy do are leaving the sport. Less of them, like Nick Saban, college too, right? Basketball. They've been leaving the sport. The tough nose, I'm going to get these kids in line. I'm going to ride them hard for 4 years. I'm going to get them a degree, and we're going to work together. That type of coaching style is less and less as it's become more of a business on the college football end, where these guys can leave you immediately. They have millions of dollars in some cases, right? Or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you're going to have to deal with them at a slightly more professional level than you used to. Not the NFL, not to that stage, but still more than college football was 5 years ago.
I do think, with the connections back west, I think imagine on a recruiting level, Eric Bieniemy, your mom and dad with
in
kids,
your living room,
and he walks in and he's pitching you on why your son should go to UCLA. He's going to be very good at that.
I agree.
I think he's going to be very good at that, which is a huge part of the job that he'll have.
And bringing structure and diligence and the things that, like, some college programs, college programs, because you always think of, like, we talk about how bad head coaching is in the NFL. Okay, now take it to college. What do you think? Every college coach has the entire structure and organizational stuff figured out? No. But Eric Bieniemy can help you with that. For UCLA's sake, it makes a lot of sense.
Do you think he ever
I'd been all over this if I was UCLA.
Do you think he ever gets back in the NFL? And so he's 54 years old. Do you think he ever takes a coordinator job in the NFL again? Or is it this now, like, okay, he finished his career in college?
I think he's a college coach now. Maybe I'm wrong, but here's where part of it is. If you do a good job at UCLA, a college program will give you a head coaching job. You could still live that dream. It won't be at a big boy program right away, I don't think. Like, I don't think, you're not getting Texas if it came over.
Sure, of course. No, I got you.
But I do think that you could get a, decent Big 12 job or some of the other stuff that could come available. If you do a nice job at UCLA, I definitely think it could lead to that. Or it could lead to higher level offensive coordinator program stuff like Kelly had done. There's more room in it for him. But no, I kind of feel like maybe I think if you're 54 years old and the NFL head coaching thing's not going to happen, you go to college. I still think he wants to be a head coach. I never listened to the people the first time, Gold, who used to be like, are you even sure he wants to be a head coach? I'm like, what do you think he's doing all these interviews
he
for?
did like 25 interviews. He interviewed for almost every team in the league.
What, do you think he's just doing those for fun? No, he wants to be a head coach. I think he probably sees this. And I don't know if the part he's saying where he's like, the Commanders didn't fire me, I fired them. Or that wasn't what he said. He just said he left. They would have let him stay, but he chose to leave.
Yeah, and it sounds like, so Dan Quinn's the new head coach, defensive-minded coach. They met, we know that. Was there an offer say, hey, we'd love to have you around still, but it's not going to be in as an OC? And then Eric Bieniemy pursued other options.
Yeah.
Is that what he means by not, I think at minimum there's probably a demotion coming if he was kept around, but I'll point to some of the comments, again, out of the nation's capital from players that weren't a huge fan of his there. Doesn't mean people weren't a huge fan of him in Kansas City. They obviously were, but just from the most recent situation. And so I don't think he was ever returning to the Commanders once Ron Rivera was fired.
No, I don't think so either. The text line, by the way, I missed this during the topic of court storming. From the 816, did Jay Billis really say just arrest the kids?
Yes, he says give them all citations and arrest them. Yeah, that was going back to the court storming argument. Jay Billis, yes.
Really, Jay?
Who I think most people respect. Terrible opinion. Terrible take.
Just
arrest all the kids. Give them all citations.
Like a parking ticket? By the way, just going to tear it out. How are you taking IDs?
Well, how do you plan on actually
how
doing?
Unenforceable that is.
Well, just how do you plan on? I mean, okay, let's say 1,200 kids rush the court. How many do you actually think you're going to be able to stop and give a citation?
He might be more effective trying to bust up frat parties and charge people for underage drinking. I'm just like, what are you trying to accomplish with this? That'll never work. Speaking of rule changes, by the way, the NFL, we're going to hear stuff all week, and I bet there'll be a topic almost every day this week about some other rule change that the NFL is considering. Because we know at some point they'll discuss the tush push, or they'll try to change the overtime rules again in some way that doesn't affect the Chiefs or doesn't help the Chiefs, whatever. First up on the docket, the kickoffs again. And I got a real simple solution for you, NFL. Just stop them. I understand why you have wanted to try to preserve this play, but there's a very simple math problem here. The NFL is trying to figure out how to keep what used to be one of the most exciting plays in the sport alive while also making it not dangerous at all. And I'm just here to tell you, that's not possible. That is not a doable circumstance. Just get rid of it. We'll just forget that kickoffs ever existed. As Quentin pointed out before the show, there wasn't a single kickoff return in the entire Super Bowl. Did it stop my enjoyment of the game? No. Kickoffs don't go for touchdowns anymore. It's not an exciting play anymore, so I don't care about it anymore. Just put the ball to 25 and be done with it.
We're wasting our time with kickoffs. I mean, even the adjustments that they have made, we're wasting our time. Just 22% was the return rate on these kicks. It just had everybody line up. Theatrics, it's just fake is all we're doing here when it comes to the kickoff. So it is a waste of time. We all love the big splashy kickoff returns, but they're not happening anymore. So unless you think you can find a way to bring that back, which is being lax on safety measures, or maybe you'll watch what the XFL tried to do and some other fake kickoff setup that prompts some more kickoff returns, maybe you explore that. But otherwise, yes, it is a giant waste of time. It's also why onside kicks, to me, are something that should be given an option, not getting rid of. And someone right away will say, well, then if you're down, you just have no way to get the ball back. No, the other alternative, which is fourth and 20 or fourth and 15, a chance to convert a 4th and 15 to get the ball, retain possession, something like that. We all love the kickoff at the time, but we're way past what kickoffs were when, even when we were little watching or whatever. Anybody for much of their life were watching football.
Yeah, and that's the point. Like, I see the same thing. Like you said, kickoff goes away, so does the onside kick. Do you realize the current success rate of the onside kick, by the way?
But you don't have to get rid of the onside kick.
You
just do the alternative. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. It's also, it has a success rate of like 0.00. It's like, it's the same odds you have of going on a date with Sydney Sweeney, Gold, as you had mentioned earlier.
You're giving me 0.01?
0.001% shot.
So you're saying there's a chance.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
So you guys just happen to hit it off when you run into each other in a bar airport one time.
Yeah, her and I are gonna be chilling at Boulevard and Guy's Deli inside KCI one day. A layover for her in Kansas City.
You got stuck with a giant layover and you're like, screw it. I'm gonna buy that United Way business lounge, and she just happens to be sitting in there. You know?
Oh, if that's what it took. If I need to get access to the whatever it's called, the Laurel Lounge or whatever it is.
I'll give you. That's how you get the same odds. It's just not. Neither of them are high percentage anymore. Kickoffs all go through the back of the end zone. By the way, teams are going to stop returning it even more. The NFL this year, the league data, suggests the number of kickoffs in which you are more successful than just taking it at the 25 is like 20%. It doesn't even make sense. You are more likely to be backed up further than the 25 than you are to take the ball past the 25. And it is still twice as likely to cause a concussion in the NFL than any other play on the field. Well, not a surprise, Gold. It's both people running full speed 30 yards away from each other.
I still think they should explore before they fully eliminate it, because that's what, if they're not willing
to
make
the XFL.
if they're not willing to make one other adjustment, then just get rid of kickoffs. But the XFL, for those that don't know, remember they merged those, so it's not even the XFL anymore. But this is what they tried last year, where the kicker lines up at his own 30, right? 10 other members of the kickoff team line up at the opponent's 35. Okay, so they're way already down the field. So it eliminates that collision.
The sprinting at each other part.
5 yards away from the returning team. The kicker and returner are the only players who are allowed to move until the ball is fielded. Touchbacks are placed at the 35-yard line. So they're down the field. They're just standing there waiting. The kicker kicks it. He starts running. The return man obviously moves to catch the ball. Once he touches it, then everybody can go.
It's like blocking like a regular play.
I know it sounds so gimmicky, but if it does present an opportunity still for a real kickoff return while eliminating the 30-plus yard head start in collision or whatever it might end up being.
I mean, if they want to try something different, it's fine. I think the inevitability is 15 years from now we won't have kickoffs and we'll have some other onside kick alternative. I also just think, like, I know it's a Hail Mary play and you're not supposed to do it, but, like, you're not supposed to have a chance. Like, I like giving team a better chance to come back late because it just makes the game more exciting. I get it, because somebody would be like, wouldn't that be the same as, like, adding a 10-point spot on a basketball court? You're just essentially allowing them to get back in the game for no other reason than because they completed something that's not supposed to be done. Yeah, kind of. But in the end, all I care about is good games down to the wire where people have a chance to win. And in the Chiefs' case, obviously, you got a way better shot at converting 4th and 15 than anyone else in league, or 4th and 20 than anyone else. It's still a low percentage play. It's just higher than an onside kick. That's all.
Coming up next, we know the salary cap is up in the NFL by a wider margin than anybody thought it would on Friday. But one unintended consequence of that, we'll explain next.
You're listening to Cody and Gold. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every weekday starting at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. So you can bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and so much more. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com/610Bob and shoot your shot. That's FanDuel.com/610Bob. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA and of 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Yes, you're always better with a roof from JR. Veteran-owned and veteran-operated. We are hardwired to serve and protect what matters most. More than just a roof. JR & Company delivers peace of mind with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. That's right, a lifetime warranty that's even transferable if you sell your home. And no one offers more roofing options than JR & Company. Unlike most roofers who carry only one or two brands, JR & Company is certified in all the major brands. You can't choose the right roof if you don't have a choice. Start with our free online storm check tool. If there's damage, we'll help with your insurance, service, selection, and a lifetime workmanship warranty. It's why we say,
you're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrcousa.com.
Looking forward to the weekend? Of course you are, because you're going to assemble a 652-part entertainment center that has a 17-page instruction manual with no words. Don't worry if there's too many screws left behind. It's only got to hold your brand new 75-inch flat screen TV. Forget the weekends. Mo Money Mondays are here. New scratchers, new chances to win every last Monday of the month, only from the Missouri Lottery.
Play responsibly. Hey, it's Kling. There are many reasons I love Hy-Vee, the great values, the selection, the service, and I love to rack up fuel savers. And you can as well. Shop Hy-Vee on Monday, earn a fuel discount equal to the high temperature on Sunday and the amount you spend. If the high is 68 degrees on Sunday, I'll save 68 cents per gallon when I spend $68 on Monday. Heat up the savings every Monday through April 29th only at Hy-Vee.
Must look up code 80007 at checkout or promo code HEATUP when shopping online. See store for details.
The best deals at the pump happen when you shop the aisles of Hy-Vee with help from the first Warn 5 weather team.
This is KCTV5 Chief Meteorologist Luke Doris. Watch KCTV5 Sunday night at 10 for our official high temperature.
Whatever it was on Sunday means you save on Monday with your Hy-Vee Perks card. If the high was 63 degrees, you save 63 cents a gallon when you spend at least $63.
Watch First Warn 5 weather on KCTV5 this Sunday at 10.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
You've heard it said, he's a diamond in the rough. Or maybe, diamonds are forever. Here's something else I've learned about diamonds. They're just pieces of coal put under pressure for a long, long, long time. So when I start feeling like I want to give up, I think about that little piece of coal. And if that piece of coal can make something of itself by not giving up, so can I. Persistence is in you.
Pass it on.
From PassItOn.com.
Get ready for the live tennis event of the year, the Netflix Slam, on March 3rd at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Join 22-time Grand Slam champion and tennis legend Rafael Nadal as he takes on world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz and witness a tennis showdown like never before. This live Netflix sports event promises unparalleled tennis action. Mark your calendars for March 3rd, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. It's Game, Set, Match on Netflix.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is, when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is, this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Defense played out of their mind. How about that D, baby?
610 Sports Radio, KCSB Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
O'clock hour, Cody and Gold. Always a weird song to start the hour with, I feel like. I just never know when to jump in. And it's just like, there's some songs that I feel are more fitting for the start of the hour and some aren't. I don't know. Like, what do we start? We already started. What do we start?
Do you start when, but you're, I don't know. Welcome to the jungle now.
That's what I said. We already started. This show's already started. It's a weird one for me to start the hour with whenever it comes on. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I can't help you there. Sorry. It's too late now. We've already done it. And you know that Quentin's music taste is like, it starts obviously with like Poison or something in the 80s, and then it's like classic rock through like 1998, and then I think Quentin stopped listening to music.
Well, you missed
I think
Friday.
The year he was born, he stopped listening to music.
You were not here on Friday, and Vern was in at this point in time, and somehow we were talking about the baseball players that were being interviewed, their favorite French fries, and so, of course, we're talking about fries, and naturally you get into the fast food fry debate. And we learned on Friday that Quentin, who's producing today, has never had McDonald's in his life.
Wait, the fries or the whole meal?
As in spent a dime at McDonald's, the most popular fast food chain on earth.
Just real quick, Quentin.
I was stunned. I really was. I thought about it all weekend.
You were born in these United States of America?
Well, it's global. It's global.
It's global?
Was he born? Yes.
It's McDonald's. My kids are 3 and 5. They've had McDonald's.
I've had two things from McDonald's.
What you? Oh,
I've had their breakfast burrito, and I've had when the McChicken was on the dollar menu.
Okay, so he's had some McDonald's.
That's it.
Still
never
not
fries.
having a McDonald's
Never
fry.
a hamburger.
Not a Big
fries.
Mac.
Or
Not a
fries or
hamburger.
anything
I was stunned on Friday. We don't have to revisit it fully, but I couldn't believe that. I thought about it all weekend. I was trying to remember when was the first time I had each of the most popular fast food chains?
Someone said it's almost like he was born into an Amish community, escaped, got into the car, listened to 98.9 The Rock, and the rest is history. Had never seen a McDonald's, only listens to like AC/DC from the 80s.
What do you think
he's like a time traveler.
What do you think he was just running across a field and then found a abandoned car on a road and just hopped in and they just had
do you drive a Trans Am? I got to figure out what kind of ride you're in.
I do know how to drive a manual, and that was I drove.
He's in his early 20s. He knows how to drive a manual.
That's good.
I can still drive a manual, but I don't know. I'm way older than you.
At this point, I'd burned the clutch out a few times before, I'd be able to pick it up again. But I'm confident I'd be able to do it.
The good thing for it, your arteries are a lot cleaner and clearer
than ours.
Than a lot of us that had McDonald's at a young age.
I just don't eat out. I mean, if any restaurant or anything like that, I don't eat out a lot.
That's good. It's cheaper for the most part and usually healthier. But yeah. You were here on Friday for that, so I want to make sure you...
I appreciate it. I would be a little bit worried about it. I know on Friday also you guys talked about the cap situation, which makes sense. It's great news for the Chiefs. We know that. The cap, I can't believe they jumped it. I kind of thought they were going to try to slow walk it, Gold. But I think what happened, honestly, is they realized how much it's going to jump every year, and there's no way to walk it slow. The gambling money and the TV money and the streaming money that is coming into the league is going to see the cap go nuts for the next 10 years in a row, probably, so there's no reason to do it. But I found myself, because initially it's always like, great for the Chiefs. Everything's great for the Chiefs because it normally is. But then I thought back and I was like, you know what, this really saved the ass of two teams. I'm annoyed a little bit that it saved their ass. It saved the Bills and the Bengals from having to do what the rest of the league have to do. Figure out how to be good while you're paying your quarterback a pile of money. The Bills were really up against it. They were officially entering their we're screwed year. They sold their soul each of the last 2 years to try to get a Super Bowl title. And instead, I think that this cap move bought them 2 more years of runway before they're screwed again. Look, eventually, they're still going to be hurt by where they are cap-wise and how much money they've handed out to different players. But they got 2 more years of runway on this. And Cincinnati, too. I think the whole tagging T. Higgins, which we can talk about individually here in a minute, and everyone else in between, it helped them maybe the most besides Kansas City. Kansas City currently has a league average amount of cap despite being a back-to-back Super Bowl champ. But the Bills were supposed to be dead in the water this year, and now I'm not ready to bury them because of this.
Right. I think anybody whoever, I don't remember the team, but whoever had the 3 most caps free, the 3
Saints, Bills, and I can't remember who the third one was, but it was those 2 for sure.
3 most, I'm sorry, not worst.
Oh, most.
Whoever had the most cap
Texans,
space.
who knows?
Okay, so those are the teams that actually were hurt the most. You're like, what do you mean? They have even more. But what you're saying, there were other teams. You are like, if you were the Commanders who already had $90 million in cap space, you're like, man, we're way ahead of everybody. Well, now you have $100 million more, instead of 90, you have $100 million, let's say, in cap space based off of projection. So it's great for you, but yes, it helps bring some of the other teams to the pack. I still think, though, where it actually has the impact are those teams that have in-house options they have to figure out. So the Bengals, yes, with T. Higgins. The Chiefs with Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. I do think that's where it actually helps you more than it is that, you're going to go out and be able to spend a ton of money on free agents. Well, yes, so is everybody. The dollar amount, to a certain extent, for the contract that Gabe Davis or Curtis Samuel are going to get.
It went up the same amount of million for every team.
Correct. Where it helps you, I think, is the in-house option. How likely is it now the Chiefs are willing to get a 3-year deal done with Chris Jones? Same, with Sneed versus, the tag number, $19 million. It's $10 million more next year. No problem.
If they're going to do it, and this is where it becomes really important for the Chiefs for the Chris Jones thing, and for like Cincinnati and those others, you should be paying anybody you want to give a contract as fast as humanly possible. Like, get Chris Jones a paycheck before some other defensive lineman gets a paycheck in the New World Order. I'm just telling you, you better be first on the docket, not second or third or fourth, because I'm telling you, the second Justin Jefferson gets a contract, whatever the hell else you thought you were getting a wide receiver for, well, you can kiss that number goodbye. It's going to be Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams, but 5 times worse. But I still think it bought those teams more leeway.
Yeah, well, on Justin Jefferson, I don't think that's getting done anytime soon. But on the Chris Jones point, whether the cap went up or not, the minute you allow him to go to the open market on free agency, then
it's over.
I think it is, because there's going to be a team that's willing to actually pay him what he wants. This is where, as much as we always talk about, hey, the Chiefs have to reach a certain dollar amount to retain Chris Jones has to make the decision on what is he willing to give up. It's a negotiation for a reason.
Sure.
If he's just got a set number and this is what it has to be for me to sign long term, well, then that's something that you're going to go get from the Tampa Bay Bucks or the Carolina Panthers or Chicago Bears and a crappier team.
But like, can you make the argument now based on these and this is what the other teams, Cincinnati and Buffalo, just talked about. This is what they should be doing too. Based on the way the cap just went up, would Chris Jones just take the deal that he wanted last year? Like, I'm just dead serious. Now the Chiefs can afford it. Before, I understand why they left those financial constraints on themselves, because they were guessing where the cap was going to be. Well, the cap is way more, and it's going to be way more. Hey, Chris, we totally remember that number you were asking for. Will you take that exact number now? Or is your number, do you want your number to go up the amount that the league year just went up and the whole league is going to go up? And that's the problem.
Well, the hurdle that I've said it over and over, I can't get over in the Chris Jones negotiation is what changed for the Chiefs to where now they're willing to get to that dollar amount. Honestly, like, this is not a rhetorical question. Like,
he's still great. He's the same player he was before.
He's a year older.
Back-to-back Super Bowl champs, going for a third.
That's the last part. That's the only part that I actually can get, because he had less sacks. He's a year older, and I wasn't willing to do that a year ago. So unless the argument is that we're going for the three-peat, let's just do it. Screw it. I don't know why, if you're Brett Veach, why now would you be willing to give the deal that you weren't a year ago, when now the age thing in the final year of the contract becomes a bigger deal? We led the show on Friday, Cody, talking about Aaron Donald, right? Because Aaron Donald signed his extension 3 for $95 a year older than what Chris Jones will be signing. And I asked the question, are you good if I tell you next year Chris Jones on a new deal, he's still a 12.5 sack guy, just as great as he always has been. But the final 2 years of that 3-year contract, he's an 8 sack guy and a 5 sack guy. Would you sign up?
Yeah, I would.
Let's say it costs you $32 million a year in the final year of the contract.
I think the other point, and like we'd said with the Super Bowl thing, is that technically if he would take the same deal that the Chiefs that he wanted from the Chiefs last year. Technically, the cash value of that is less. It's less harmful than it was a year ago because the cap taking the huge, again, the Bills essentially now can just be like, well, we're still kind of screwed, but now like the Von Miller deal doesn't matter anymore. That was supposed to cripple him. I was supposed to kneecap that team for a couple of years because they went all in to try to pay a guy to try to get the Super Bowl championship, and that was supposed to hurt him. Now it's not really going to hurt him. Now they're still one player short. It's not going to hurt them as much. How about that? It will still hurt them, but it won't hurt them as much as it was expected to do. You'd mentioned free agency, and I was having a completely different thought about the Royals over the weekend. One, I'm just happy baseball's back. Feels good. Salvador Perez is talking about, like, starting to feel some of that, like, 10 years ago Royal stuff, and I pray that he's right. But I was thinking more about, like, how, like, we talk about all this all the time, like, the Bills being all in and, like, the amount of all in a team is every year. Remember, I think it's The Ringer who does the all-in index for NFL teams this year. Because the Royals gave Bobby Witt Jr. $288 million, signed Walker, signed Lugo, I got to be honest, and they've been bad for a decade, their all-in index is starting to get up there a little bit from baseball's perspective, in which case I think they should just keep digging in further. Major League Baseball, because of the way that it's gone over the last couple of years in free agency, there are a ton of really good baseball players still available to be signed right now. Look, because of the position player thing, I'm not telling you to go get Matt Chapman because I like where the Royals position player stuff is. And maybe even to a point, make an argument for the starting pitching, although I would just say give Jordan Montgomery a bunch of money and then just have a really good Major League roster. But let's just take it to the reasonable stance. Go spend more money. There are one of two names right now available to be in your bullpen who make you better immediately in my mind. One is Ryan Stanek, who's available. He'll cost you $8-9 million a year, right? And one is Matt Barnes, who's coming off of a worse year out of it. But if you look at relievers and qualified bullpens, you can still get really good ones on the market as it sits right now. And you and I both know that it's still a very unproven grouping of players out of the bullpen in which we're hoping they're good. Just keep throwing money at it. That way you've got numbers to throw at this problem and see if you can't solve it. Part of me thinks is you're so far in now with Bobby Witt Jr., you should try to go a little deeper.
Yeah, but the Bobby Witt Jr. deal is a long-term deal.
Sure, it's not just for this season.
The Bobby Witt Jr. extension, he's still playing the 3 or 4 years that they already had him under control. They just added years to the end of it. I mean,
yeah, but you can pay for the player now that he's not making the money.
I understand, but I don't think it's to me, what they have done this offseason is clearly last year, the evaluation season's unacceptable. And I told this to Vern, though. I still think there's a ton of evaluating that's going on this year. I mean, let's be honest. We know what you're getting in Waka and Lugo, and I think we know what we're getting in Bobby Witt Jr. But after that, I mean, there is still evaluation going on with Vinny Pasquantino, MJ Melendez, Brady Singer, Cole Reagans, Daniel Lynch. Like, there's still Michael Garcia. I mean, keep going. Like, there is still plenty of evaluating to be done. But what they have done through the offseason is buy themselves some time to where, all right, let's build up the farm system a little bit, among other areas with this organization, international as well. That's what this offseason has done. Because it's weird, like, we all look at this team and we're both optimistic. Can we sitting here in August and where they're still, let's call it, within 5 games of a playoff spot? I mean, we could all sign up for that right now.
Happily.
Easily. So that is definitely what the offseason was about. But on top of that, I do wonder a little bit, Cody, if what they do this year, to me, it depends on who's involved. And Vern said he doesn't think they can be in that position without having the young pieces also step up. But there isn't, to me, a scenario fully, like 100% guaranteed where this team ends up winning 75. And I'm like, man, they're set up for the next 4 years. Because Michael Walker, Seth Lugo, and others
couple years
are only here for a year, maybe. Depending, they have an option. I mean, they could be here for 1 season. So, yeah, I think it just bought themselves time. Like, basically, like, we're not going through another 56-win season. That can't happen. And if I'm J.J. Piccolo, you got signed off to go spend some money and to better the roster and hopefully be far more competitive. But I don't think the moves they made necessarily this offseason are moves that are going to still be directly impacting in 2026. Maybe you disagree. Like,
this is also why I like the idea of
offseason are not long-term moves.
This is also why I like giving more veterans more money now out of the bullpen, because I want to do what good organizations do, which is slow walk the guys to the majors who need to be slow walked, come up when they're Whit Merrifield's age.
Buy time with the farm
25,
system,
26, yeah. Load it up. Load up the major league clubs so you can buy. I'm with you. So you can buy time in the farm system so you can Take time for the players who might need time. Look, the great players, they'll go through the system quick. They will. That's the way it works. They'll find their way to the major league club faster than the other players because they're just better than everyone else. But for the players that need the time and need the seasoning down there, buy them that by spending even more on the bullpen. Look, and I know I'm getting greedy. They have spent money on like Bobby Wood Jr., and I think the position players in general they added in there, like Renfroe, they've added some good depth. They obviously spent money in the starting pitching. They've added players to the bullpen, but there's still big question marks there. Sure up the one part of the area that at least we don't feel like, I don't know for sure that their plan is like 80% of the way there to the bullpen. It's a lot of like taking not a prayer three, but taking a shot and hoping it lands in versus I see the plan in the starting rotation. And I'm just like, the more baseball gets later and later in the spring training, you can act like it's different than it used to be. The players who are available now are not bad baseball players. Like Jordan Montgomery is still sitting out there as a starting pitcher. He's not a bad baser. He's one of the biggest names out there. He's going to get a big contract from whoever finally convinces to be in there. And I know that he had talks with the Cubs or whatever.
Yeah, some of it, as you know, though, is who gets hurt. Waiting to see who gets hurt. Does that obviously create more of a market for you as a player? If somebody is, somebody ends up getting injured, if you're the organization, you're watching spring training, you're like, man, the bullpen, we thought this doesn't look good. Like, whatever it may be. I mean, those are moves that can alter. I mean, Cody Bellinger just signed with the Cubs.
Yep.
He always wanted to stay.
He's what made me think of this, by the way.
Yeah, he always wanted to stay with the Chicago Cubs, and he ends up getting a deal, and now it brings even more energy to spring training for Chicago. I don't think Bellinger was really signing anywhere other than Chicago.
It just feels like one of those. Yeah, no, I don't think so either. But that's exactly the point. Look at the talent you can add. Just look. I mean, I kind of want to just dig in now at this point if you're the Royals. And look, if we ranked out all of baseball, we took the 30 teams and we said they're all in index. Where are the Royals? Like 15? Because they're still young. They still haven't, like, this isn't 13 or 14 as far as the year of progression. But they got to be more desperate than at least half the league. They're not more desperate than the Yankees, fine. But they got to be more desperate than about half the league to get back to winning ways. And not just because of the stadium thing, because that'll get decided long before they, well, I don't know. At the same time, they step onto
into
the
season or whatever.
Yeah, they don't have enough time to be bad at baseball enough. Could you imagine they get like 0-4 and they get outscored like 50-1? Just like, come on. Don't just play this thing out. Let's go 2-2. I'll take 500 all year. I'll take 10-10, 20-20, 30-30. I'll just take 500 the whole damn year for the Royals. I absolutely will. But I want, like, they're committed. I'm not denying that. Part of me just thinks double down on the commitment based on where you are.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a desire to go spend more. I think some of it, let's see what happens, too, if they were to get off to a good start. And that's where, trade deadline conversations and things like that get interesting. If they actually are showing, though,
if they are 50 and 50.
If it's if it's June and the pieces we thought would be good are good, but man, we're like, man, this bullpen is going to drag them down. Otherwise, they got a shot to actually go do something. That's a conversation then I think you have via the trade market.
Sure.
As you know, there's always relievers available at the trade market. We've been on the flip side of that.
Consistently.
Always relievers you can go acquire at the trade deadline. So that's why I'm not as like, oh my gosh, go get another bullpen arm. I think you can figure that out. If that ends up being a problem for you, that's an area you can actually fix in season. Let's hope, by the way, I would love to be sitting here, as weird as that sounds, in late June, and we're like, man, everything seems pretty good. They're rolling. They're a couple games above 500, but man, that bullpen, that's going to end up costing them. I would love to be sitting here then saying they didn't do enough.
Cody was right. They should have given somebody
That
else.
would be a good problem to be in if everything else turned out well.
It wouldn't even feel good to flex on it that much. It'd be like, I hope we're there. I really do.
Trash of the day.
We were talking about fast food earlier with the McDonald's. Not going to McDonald's for Q, and I do think we need to bring in some McDonald's for you, just to or just go take a trip like you're like a kid getting his first Happy Meal, because it would be your first Happy Meal.
It would have to be a Happy Meal.
You're a Wendy's guy though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what about this? So Wendy's is planning Uber-style surge pricing, where burger prices fluctuate based on demand. Yeah, this is a real thing. Wendy's CEO announced the new system on a call with investors, noting the pricing menu will begin testing in 2025.
I'm getting dynamic pricing for a cheeseburger?
Yeah, so we're still a year away from this testing. But basically how it would work is, let's say you get the Dave single, it could increase by $1 as lunchtime is underway, and then drop down by the same amount after the lunch rush. So it could be 2 o'clock and that $7.99 burger is $6.99, but if it's at noon, it might be $8.99. With constant pricing shifts, Wendy's will rely on new digital menu boards. $20 million investment in high-tech menus. And for reference, the food chain's location charge is $5.99 for a burger. The Times Square location charge is $8.19. So they're saying that it already happens. But this sucks.
That happened. That's a location-based, not a time-based.
That's awful. So I'm in line at Wendy's, and it's noon, and, a lot of people eat lunch at noon. I'm going to pay more than if you waited till 1:15 to get your double cheeseburger.
Man,
I hope this isn't a trend that's successful at all. This sounds terrible.
I hope it fails miserably. Sorry, Wendy's. You're really going to charge me $1 for eating lunch at lunchtime?
Yeah, it's
It's lunchtime. That's when I'm supposed to eat.
Guess I will be going out to fast food restaurants even less than I already do.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. Could you imagine if you sat at a restaurant, like an sit-down restaurant is what the word I was looking for, sit-down restaurant, and it's dinner time. So all of a sudden, that filet actually is $10. It was actually $10 more. But if you wait,
so you should have eaten that filet at 3 p.m. in the afternoon.
If you eat at 8:30, it's more. And I understand places have.
Look, we just got ripped off from Johnny Rockets in Vegas.
Yeah, like I get happy hours a thing. So if you want to call that dynamic pricing, I guess that's way different. Saying that if you have dinner or you go in and there's appetizer specials from 4 to 5:30 is not the same thing as a fast food restaurant, though. At noon, when you're at work, right? You got a 30-minute lunch break. We've all been there before, and you're like, I got to get fast food real quick. And you go up there. That's the time you got to eat. You're going to pay more.
It's already. I'll just be honest with you. The fast food pricing has already just gotten out of control. Yes. Like the fact that you and I, Gold, if you and I are just like, hey, we're going to pop by McDonald's, we're going to get an extra value meal for our guy Q. 3 of us are all going to get some food so we can get him a chance to try a McDonald's fry. $30 at least.
Well, yeah,
maybe 35 for the 3 of us.
You get a quarter
for 3 meals.
You get a quarter pounder of cheese, a little medium size with a Dr. Pepper. It's going to run you like $11.50 something.
I mean, what's your Chipotle order up to these days?
That's
man? Let's be honest.
That's why I've been going less. I don't know if you noticed.
What are you up to? $14 if you get the double meat?
I don't get double. I never get double meat.
Okay.
I just get the bowl with little chips and salsa and a cup for water. Ends up being like 15 something.
And you're drinking water.
Yeah.
You get a fountain drink. You might be. You're
yeah.
You're $18 deep for a single person's meal. And now they want to charge me $1 because I want to eat at lunchtime? Also, what is the qualification of it? Are they going to let me off the hook on the early end, like 11? Or is it just 11 to 1, you're screwed no matter what?
It's not
or is it based on how busy they actually are?
They claim it'll be then, not a time thing. We're just presuming that certain time. We just pick
We're getting a lot of orders, so it's $1 more for that burger now.
It's implementing a dynamic pricing model that will see prices fluctuate throughout the day based on demand. So am I going to be imagine you're in line.
That's what I was getting ready to ask.
Q's in front of me, okay? He's in front of me. It's starting to get busy. I look at that board, and while I'm waiting in line, that's the $7.99 combo. But all of a sudden, you know what? It's my turn to pull up, and it moves up to $8.99. Is that going to happen? Sounds like it would.
Could you imagine this in any other?
Can I just order on the app, save myself some money?
This is ridiculous in any setting. Like, just think about this from any setting. You'd be like, oh, sorry, Gold, that beer you wanted to get at the bar, it's normally $5. It's $6 now because we're busy. You're like, what? No, it's just tell me what the price of the beer is. Why am I being charged more for a single drink based on the time of day that it is?
Yeah, I really do hope that this fails because I don't want it to be successful because everybody else will eventually do it as well. That'd be terrible.
Those new menu boards, and someone pointed out, they're going to be asking you for a tip on that too.
Oh, my
very
God.
Clear.
Yeah.
Wendy's going to charge you an extra $1 for that, and they're going to flip that little screen over as you tap pay, Gold, with your phone. And they're going to be like, would you like to leave 15%? Sir, I would not. There are places I've just decided I'm never tipping. Like, not to be rude.
It's
just
a weird, awkward spot. Like, I went to, what do you do if you go up to a counter somewhere, and so you're inside, you go to a counter, while you're paying, they bring the food. Like, so I was at Gates Barbecue yesterday. I hadn't had Gates in a while. I said, why not? We still need to take Drew.
You stood in line?
So I stood in line, and
you ordered your food?
I got a beef on bun combo, fried, drink. I'm sitting there, I'm paying. They bring it, and there's an option to tip. I did.
After they brought it or before?
No, they didn't bring it to me. I'm standing right there. You know how it is at Gates? Well, I hit the tip button. I felt guilty and pressured. So I hit the tip button, and they thanked me for it because nobody else, I guess, in front of them did. That's not even a story for me.
If it's a tip, it's a couple of bucks. It's like, here's a few bucks. I'm not doing 15%, 20%.
Yeah, but like it just it pops up on the screen, 15, 20, or whatever. So you wouldn't tip in that spot normally. I was like, do I tip
Typically,
here?
No.
Yeah.
And I tip in almost every circumstance.
If I'm driving through a drive-thru, there's no chance I'm tipping. Absolutely not. I'm sorry. If I'm going through the drive-thru, no.
If I'm doing 95% or more of the work, this is a no tipping situation. As in, I stand in the line, I order my food, I fill up my drink, I clear my plate. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm doing all of those things, I've done the work. You're just asking me to tip you for the food, which I'm assuming you've marked appropriately based on the price that you're charging me for. And again, I'm not anti-tipping in general, but there are places like, I had a tip screen pop up I was at a sporting game, and the self-checkout, like where you go to the cooler,
that's absurd.
grab your beer, and scan it yourself, was asking for a tip. You're like, for who? Do I get this money back or something?
I'm hoping that is just, hey, the systems are all the same throughout the whole stadium, and they have no way to change that, and it is what it is. I'm hoping that's what that is.
There was like one guy standing there just making sure like someone doesn't steal all this stuff. I'm like, am I tipping this guy?
Yeah,
for what? Making sure people don't steal things? I'm not stealing anything.
Text line's right, 913-586-7610. Like, yeah, the whole tipping thing was initially just based off the service you got while sitting down inside a restaurant. If we're talking about food, there's obviously, like, that's what it used to be. And now it's just like they handed you the bag of food. Yeah, and do you want to tip us? What about a place like Smoothie King? Because this comes up a lot for me, too. So, Smoothie King, I walk in.
It's like a Subway situation. It's kind of a tough middle ground.
Order the
$1. It's like a coffee.
Yeah, the angel food. You know, you get a little 20-ounce angel food. It's fantastic. Smoothie.
Sounds
and then
rich.
No,
it's too sweet.
Well, it's strawberry and banana. Yeah. Anyway, so it'll pop up for tip on there. I tip, but I just do the lowest option, but I'll tip on that because they're at least. I think
it's like a coffee. I think it's $1.
Yeah.
That's a tipping situation, but it's not like a 20% tipping situation. This is why I keep cash most of the time. In the low leverage tipping situation, which it feels like you're supposed to give something, coffee shop, smoothie place, you give them $1 or $2, depending, no big deal. But like, I'm also not trying to leave 20% for like, I don't know. This is it's still crazy to me.
All right, that's the trash of the day. Up next, Chiefs Red Half Hour. We get back into the news about an extension coming for Andy Reid and what it means long-term for the franchise.
Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
There's just a few days left to take advantage of DuraVision's Friends and Family Savings Event, where you can save up to $1,000 on a LASIK procedure. And I've told you how great DuraVision has been for me. From the very first time I called them up for that free consultation, they made me feel comfortable right when I walked into their office, and they walked me through exactly what they could do for my eyes. The exact plan. That wasn't a one-size-fits-all approach. They told me that I was a candidate for LASIK, and so just a few days later, I went in for my procedure and was able to walk out of there, go to work the very next day, and now I just wake up and see without contacts, without glasses, and it truly has been the best decision ever. It makes my morning routine quicker and easier. It makes my travel experience, like when we were out in Las Vegas for the big game, easier. All of that possible because of DuraVision. They're the best in Kansas City when it comes to LASIK procedures. And right now, as I said, you want to take advantage of their Friends and Family Savings Event, where you can save up to $1,000. You just got to go to DuraVision.com or give them a call, 913-491-3330.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru. We've added even more incentives to buy from us. An exclusive lifetime warranty. Your first maintenance is free. Lee Summit Subaru just discounted up to $3,000 off MSRP or 0% financing for 63 months on the 2024 Subaru Forester. Bonus cash, 0%. Free maintenance and a lifetime warranty. That's why you'll fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru. The Subaru A Lot to Love event.
The service contract is not provided or backed by the manufacturer of the vehicle. The manufacturer of the vehicle is not responsible for the claims or repairs under this service contract.
Hey Kansas City, it's Jeff Briggs with Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. I want to tell you about an exciting opportunity. We just received a special shipment of pre-owned trucks, a quality mix of GMC, Chevy, Ford, and of course Ram products. These are half-tons, heavy duties, some fully loaded, some nicely equipped. These units were purchased well back of current market value, and here's the exciting part, we are passing the savings on to you. If new truck prices have you feeling discouraged, then visit us at the Legends Auto Plaza in KCK or online at victorymotorskc.com, where our first price is better than their last.
Hi, it's Trey Smith, and in order for our team to get a victory, we need honesty, teamwork, work ethic, humility, and the golden rule. That's why my truck is from the dealer that embodies all those values, Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also supports Giving Hope, whose sole purpose is to feed and clothe the needy in Wyandotte County and beyond. Giving back in the highest integrity, that's how Jeff and his team do business. For your next vehicle, visit or go to victorychrysler-dodge-jeepram.com.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
The needs of modern businesses are always changing, but corporate cards haven't evolved in decades. Until now. Meet Ramp, the all-in-one finance platform that combines corporate cards with spend management software. Ramp is the only card designed to actually help your business spend less, not more. With Ramp, you can set custom controls to stop out-of-policy spend before it even happens. And Ramp software even does expense reports for you. No more manual entries, no more chasing receipts. And with best-in-class accounting integrations, you'll close your books in days, not weeks. Ramp gives you better insights and a real-time view of all company spend, so you can stay focused on the big picture and build a healthier business. Join over 15,000 businesses who have switched to Ramp and start saving an average of 5%. Modern finance runs on Ramp. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. That's ramp.com/sports.
Hey, it's Bob Fesco. I'm here with Dawn Sharp and Keely Wolfer of the Sharp Homes Real Estate Team. If someone wants to wait and list their home in the springtime, what's the advice that you have for these guys right now?
I think the best thing is to not wait. If you wait until spring, you're going to have so much competition. Instead of having 50 homes in the area, there's going to be 300 homes in the area. I just think it's better to do it now.
Well, yeah, and if they have to buy a house, then they're looking at that competition as well.
Find out how much your home is worth today at homesforsaleInKC.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is, when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is, this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
You've heard it said, he's a diamond in the rough. Or maybe, diamonds are forever. Here's something else I've learned about diamonds. They're just pieces of coal put under pressure for a long, long, long time. So when I start feeling like I want to give up, I think about that little piece of coal. And if that piece of coal can make something of itself by not giving up, so can I. Persistence is in you.
Pass it on.
From PassItOn.com.
Is switching your wireless service to Total by Verizon easy? Totalmente. And you get unlimited 5G data, $25 a line for 4 lines on the unlimited plan, at an amazing price, with no contracts. Should you switch to Total by Verizon? Definitely. Totalmente. Find a store or switch suavemente at totalbyverizon.com. Monthly rate when you activate with autopay plus taxes and fees. Discount begins the month after you enroll. Additional terms apply. See website for data management practices.
Occupied.
Hurry up.
Go away. I'm enjoying my hot shower.
Yeah, we'd all like to. Hot water hug.
That's it. Family meeting. We can all enjoy long, steaming, hot showers, even the last in line, which it seems is always me. But go ahead, have that imaginary argument of what you should have said. Take your time. With our new high-efficiency Navien tankless water heater, I'll never take a cold shower again. Visit tanklessmadesimple.com to learn more.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
It is Combine Week in the NFL. You're going to get a lot of rumors, reports happening throughout the week. You'll certainly get to hear some of the speculation about some of the top draft picks. We'll get to that during What's Trending, actually. A couple players already deciding not to throw. That's always a huge deal. Who's going to throw, Cody, at the Combine? Who's going to actually talk to teams? Who's not? And, you know, whose hand size is a little smaller than everybody thought. All the outrage, the scouting combine. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But there is one report out today which is the complete opposite of the ridiculousness that we saw in December and January for the last 2 or 3 seasons from Mike Florio, which was him suggesting Andy Reid was going to retire. The opposite has happened.
I did like that he had to send out that tweet and be like, Reports say Andy Reid's working on a new contract.
Yeah, that's initially from Tom Pelissero that Andy Reid and the Chiefs are expected to begin work on an extension, which would make him the highest paid coach in the NFL.
Deservedly so.
Absolutely. This is, I think because not only does he just deserve to be compensated, but his current contract ends after the 2025 season. So 2 more years of coaching. Now, you can leave if you want. Doesn't mean you have to fulfill the full contract. But if he's going to sign a new deal, that means it likely goes to 28, 27, something like that.
At least an extra year, right? 26 at minimum.
Sure.
I would think 27 or 28 most likely.
And so, again, it doesn't guarantee that he's going to play out the full deal. He doesn't have to. But it makes you feel even better about what we've been discussing, which is if Andy Reid is healthy, why would you walk away, man? It is simple. Like, I think it really is. A football lifer that has the best quarterback in football, maybe a guy that has a chance to be the greatest of all time, and you as a head coach, I think have a chance, if you coach another 3+ years, to be the greatest coach of all time. That door is opened up, especially if Belichick doesn't coach again. Why would you step away? So an extension would make all kinds of sense.
Our stance has only gotten strengthened by the last couple of weeks. Andy winning yet another Super Bowl. What do you think? That's getting him closer to quitting? He's not a quarterback. He's not a 37-year-old John Elway, right? He's not playing a position where he also has to risk his body in order to do his job, Gold. All he has to do is coach. Normally when we talk about like maybe they want to go out on top or those things, Andy just wants to coach football. Go out on top, well, then you just retire now. This would be going out on top. 3 Super Bowls in 5 years, completion of a dynasty. This is as on top as probably anybody could go out if you wanted to walk away right now. So if he's not doing it now, he's not stepping away from the sport. I'm telling you, maybe I'm way off here again. But 5 years ago, I think right around the time we started the show, I told you that there was at least 5 years left of Andy Reid. And I'm telling you again, 4-5 years later, there's at least 5 more years left of Andy Reid in this city. And he should be the highest paid coach in the NFL. That's the most logical thing ever. Don't let somebody else make more than your head coach makes. Doesn't count against your salary cap. You don't have to put it in escrow like a big, massive player contract. You just pay the man the money that he's earned. Yeah. You're a dynasty. You're the best team in football. It's easy enough to pay him the amount that he deserves.
Andy 65, Belichick 71. So if health is fine, why wouldn't you coach for 5 more years and get to 70? And during that 5-year span, win another ring at least? And that's the expectation. I had someone ask me over the weekend. I was on BetQL talking sports betting, and one of the producers just off air was like, do you think, though, if Andy got 3 in a row, so he'd three-peat, would he want to just ride off in the sunset? And I started laughing. I'm like, honestly, at that point, why not win 4? Like, I mean, that would be...
Why would you quit after winning 3?
Like, why wouldn't you, if you know there's more to... This is different than Manning riding off in the sunset in 2015. His career was over. His
body was done.
His playing declined. And so, if you're Andy, yeah, I mean, if they three-peated in the first time in NFL history, I'm sure in his mind he'd be saying, well, shoot, we've won 3 of these in a row. Why can't we make it 4? My guess is that would be his mentality. So
Who walks away from a 3-peat and just be like, you know what, guys? Good enough.
Yeah, you can't stop in the middle of a dynasty run. I
mean, the single greatest run in NFL history? Who would walk away from that?
You just can't. I don't think while the dynasty is still active, I think you run this out until the dynasty is over.
That's the only way in which. So there's the one we mentioned, like the health thing, and he even jokes about it. He's like, "That's just because I'm a bigger guy, right? You just think that like my body's not going to hold up." There's no indication. Like a couple of years ago, it seemed like a real storyline because he kept showing up to training camp using like a cane and stuff from some like off-season procedures. Seemed great this year, no questions. The only other thing that could happen is I could see Andy if like they had the downturn. You know, like we go the next 4 years and the Chiefs don't win a Super Bowl. Maybe he just decides, okay, I'm 70. It's been a great run. I love my NFL career. It's time to pass the baton to the next person. I also don't think that's going to happen.
So you mean a downturn in which they don't have any wide receivers and the offense struggles for much of the season, that downturn?
There's no evidence to support it's even possible for this team. I know that sounds like overly confident, and if you were probably listening to this show in any other market, you'd be like, okay, grow up. Teams fall short of stuff all the time. I'd be like, show me how. In the last 2 years, they traded away the league's best weapon, had a mediocre defense, and won the Super Bowl. They followed up the next year with a really great defense, the league's worst wide receiver unit, maybe, or at least bottom 5, and a league average offense, and they won the Super Bowl that year too. Show me the path where they don't at least compete for them, and then I'll entertain the conversation. But it's nuts.
Yeah, I love seeing that this morning. And, eventually when the day comes that the deal is done, we won't get the official number. Maybe it leaks out. It's a little bit different with coaches, and that usually is a little closer to the vest, but he absolutely deserves to be the highest paid coach in the NFL. It's actually surprising that it's taken this long to get to this point. That's going to be north of at least $15 million.
I'm surprised. We'll never know the number. That's probably 20 million. It's not a bad day at the office for Andy Reid. Not bad at all.
Now, thinking of money, thinking of new deals, someone we've discussed and how he could impact the offseason decision-making is Charles Omenihu. He was on NFL Network today. He was just talking about the season, high praise for Chris Jones during the interview. But at one point, they asked him if he did enough to potentially get a new deal. Remember, he signed a 2-year deal, so he's 1 year through it. He's got 1 year left on his contract. His response to that was, quote, "I think I did, to be honest. I think the tape speaks for itself. I showed everybody in the organization, everyone in the league." That was Charles Omenihu. Remember, he had, 7 sacks in 11 weeks? Is that right?
Yep.
I think I have the numbers right.
That's
yeah,
right.
7 sacks in 11 weeks.
That's
so
right.
he was great. Great for this team. Unfortunately, tore his ACL. He's got a year left on his deal. I don't know about you. This is the sad reality of the sport in which you get hurt. Why he can request whoever what he wants. Everybody thinks they're worth more and should have a new deal.
Me too.
I don't care what career you have. We all think we should be making more money. I don't know anybody that's listening that's like, you know what? I think I make exactly what I'm worth. I don't
maybe
think
Disney CEO or something. That guy makes $70 million a year. I think he's probably pretty comfortable.
I think 95% of people listening would say, yeah, I think I'm worth more than I get paid. So Charles Omenihu has every right to have that comment, and I would probably feel the same way if I was in his shoes. From the outside, though, and if I'm the Chiefs, you're coming off a torn ACL. You may not be available till October, November. I'm not giving you a multi-year extension.
You missed 6 games last year for personal problems.
Right.
I think we're down to really one of two things happening with Omenihu. One, he's just off here. He's off base. He's just off base on this conversation. He's right in the sense that when he was on the field, he performed at an incredibly high level, and given the opportunity to be a full-time member of a higher-end rotation, as in he wasn't the 7th guy coming off the bench like he was in San Francisco. He was one of the main key pieces on the defensive line. Man produced. Can't argue it. Did a great job. One of two things is happening with Omenihu, I'm now convinced. I think he is either signing a contract extension to stay in Kansas City, in which he's not going to get paid what he thinks he should, but they're like, you know what? You're still young. We like the years out of it, and rather than only get 4 months of play out of you, because we know you're coming back late, let's get a couple of years. Strengthen the defensive line, and we don't know which way it goes, and we'll count on you coming back from that injury, but it's not going to be for the pay he wants, or they're going to cut him. I think that it's just as likely he gets released than gets a contract extension with the Chiefs, because based on the money he's owed and the amount of time he'll likely miss, you can make an argument that you might be better taking those resources and putting them into the free agency market. The cap numbers are also a little bit different, but I think both of those are as likely.
But we also know they're building it up they're always building for the playoffs, though, right? And so, for me, if I'm thinking about he returns in November, if you feel like you have enough pieces to keep the ship stable and afloat, then is it worth still the dollar amount that you're paying Omenihu for next year? I'm not signing an extension, though. I think that'd be crazy. But next year, cap hit $10.9 million. Is that worth it still if you know that come November, and ultimately we know this team plays in January and usually plays in February these days? Is that part beneficial enough to where you're willing to have the 10? Because as you said, the dead cap is 3.7.
Yeah, so you can save money.
To me, that's worth $7 million. It's still, I'm willing to cost myself $7 million that he comes back and all of a sudden I've got a huge reinforcement in November, December, January, February.
Now tell me if Chris Jones is on the team or not. I might want the $7 million if Chris Jones is on the team.
I think that's
I'd probably
fair.
take my chances in free agency and see if I can't roll the dice and get the next healthy Charles Omenihu floating around the market. If I knew Chris Jones or Justin Matabuke, or, if there was just the right player opposite on the defensive line that I knew I could trust, I might feel a little different. This would also be an in-house question for how do you feel about FAU, right? How does the team feel about Felix Anudike-Uzomah? Because if you're still real worried about the level he can contribute in-house, well, then yeah, a lot harder to let go of a Mini Hugh and have those conversations. But for him to say, like, and it's not even like a knock. You can say whatever you want. You can want more money. I get it. And based on his performance when he was in the
he was
field,
awesome.
He's not even wrong. Problem is, you're never going to get paid. This year, it seems very unlikely, just based on how it went. You had to prove to people that you were, like, he was a fine player in a rotational defensive line in San Francisco. He got a chance to start when he came to Kansas City. When he started, he was great. He was incredibly productive along a really good defensive line. I mean, George Karlaftis and Chris Jones make your life a little easier. But then he got hurt. So it's like, if he had stayed healthy, do we think that this is a crazy conversation?
No, not at all.
He never injures himself. I actually think he's right.
Yeah, it's the injury. And I personally, though, wouldn't cut him. As I said, I actually am totally fine with having
just riding
him
it out and getting him in October.
Even if he misses another 6 or 8 games again next year. But yeah, if he would have been healthy and he would have had 13 games played, let's say, right? Because he missed 2 games, correct? He missed the title game and the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right. So if he would have played in 13 games and had, let's call it 8 sacks instead of 7 sacks in 11 games, never gets hurt, and we're just riding the same momentum, I think I'd be sitting here telling you, you should work out like a 2 or 3 year deal.
He's
with
still
Charles
26, right? He's still young.
So it's just the injury where I think you have to be concerned. Like that, are you going to commit, unless he wants to sign another team-friendly multi-year deal, what does he want? Is it the years that he wants? Guarantee money, obviously. But that if you want to sign another team-friendly deal for 2 or 3 more years, then it might be interested.
Just to get some guarantees in your life? Fine.
But if you want the dollar amount that you think you are worth just based off of prior to the injury, I don't think that exists.
No, there's just not enough evidence of time. You can't miss time every single year and expect to do it. He said in that, like you pointed out, he said he doesn't think he belongs in like the Bosa TJ Watt camp, but then he believes he should be mentioned in the next tier of pass rushers after that. And I'm like, ooh.
A lot of confidence, as he said.
No, good. Good. I hope he has confidence.
Thinking of money and decisions, and we were talking to begin the hour about the salary cap, the implications it has. One of the wide receivers that I think was a bit of a dream, but still, we always kind of joke.
Felt like less of a dream 3 months ago than it was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, when we were on Radio Row in Las Vegas, I had some fun on Twitter, and because frankly, I knew some people would interact to it, which was we saw T. Higgins walking by, and I took a photo and said future Chiefs wide receiver T. Higgins, and Cincinnati fans got all upset in my mentions, and that was by design. But he's tagged by Cincinnati. $21.8 million is what the franchise tag deal is going to be for Higgins. Now, they can trade him. That's still a possibility. Not going to trade him to Kansas City, but they could trade him. They could also work out a long-term deal. What do you think actually happens there? Because that name is off the list, and so if we're going through, that means best wide receiver available on the market, Mike Evans, Michael Pittman Jr., Calvin Ridley, Hollywood Brown. T. Higgins is not going to be available.
Are they going to trade him? Or are they just figuring because his cap number went up, they can eat a year of T. Higgins and buy themselves another season? I think that this is about Cincinnati trying to keep their playoff window open more than anything else. I think this is like the Chris Jones tag in the sense that I don't necessarily think this means T. Higgins is going to get a long-term deal with Cincinnati versus they know T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow back for a year together gives them another shot at a Super Bowl title, one of which they have 0 of in their franchise's history. And they want to try to like keep the band together-ish enough for one more year, right? The problem with it, like, I don't like Higgins because I think he might have been an almost perfect fit for the Chiefs system. It was an obvious fit. But, I mean, come on. Teams don't just let good players go all the time. They're just going to pay him $22 million instead. Let him pay him.
A few people on the text line said Justin Jefferson is going to be available as well. We're talking free agents. Even if Justin Jefferson actually became available in Minnesota because they couldn't do a deal, they're not cutting him. They're trading him. So, like, Justin Jefferson's not available unless things fall apart. I'm talking about free agent wide receivers. T. Higgins is not a free agent anymore. He's been tagged. Justin Jefferson was never a free agent. So we're talking about the guys that are free agents, Mike Evans, Calvin Ridley, Hollywood Brown.
It's like if you traded for Justin Jefferson, not only are you going to have to give up, I assume, multiple first-round picks.
Oh, for Jefferson?
Yeah. And pay him $35 to $40 million a year? Look, I know Dusty asked the question on the morning show, and I thought, like you said, would you rather have Marvin Harrison Jr. or Justin Jefferson? Or like at equal cost? Like, because that's the question.
Should I get Marvin Harrison on a rookie deal still for 4 years?
Because then the answer is Marvin Harrison Jr. But if the answer is just one of the two wide receivers on my roster, and the cost is the same, Justin Jefferson.
Sure, known commodity.
Yeah.
I know what he can be, and I think Marvin Harrison's going to be great. But Justin Jefferson
is great. I don't have to know that he might be or hope that he could be. I know for a fact Justin Jefferson is probably the best receiver in the entire NFL. But, man, I tell you what, sometimes dreaming about those would be a lot of fun just because
we had
imagining
what
it would be like that. Justin, I
you're
know.
saying,
and it was fun.
I get what you're saying. It was fun. It's funny because I've done the same thing where I'm like, imagine him on this team. Like, we did.
It's just a different kind of wide receiver, so it seems even more fun.
You want the guy that can just go grab the football off of someone's head, which Tyreek Hill did occasionally. He actually was good at high pointing. But it's funny. We had one of those wide receivers, and Peter King today, in his column where he announced his retirement, Peter King mentioned that the Chiefs, since trading Tyreek Hill, have won 32 games, I think it is, and 2 Super Bowls since they traded Tyreek Hill.
Pretty good.
Nuts.
Let me ask you guys a question.
8-0 in the postseason or whatever. 7-0.
What kind of wide receiver does Kansas City need? Because I think that should figure out we could build off that.
Start with they need speed.
I want speed, but I also
they're slow.
So you and I disagree, I think, a little bit on that. We've talked about this on air and off air. So speed was them not having speed wasn't the problem this year. MVS, one of the fastest dudes in the league.
Is he anymore? Is he?
Oh, I don't know.
Everyone's coming in with like 4 threes. He might have been one of the fastest guys in the leagues like 3 years ago.
MVS was fast. Kadarius Toney, plenty athletic and fast. McLaurin, plenty athletic. You know what? I want a dude that can go and catch freaking football for starters. How about let's start baseline there.
They had a bunch of guys who could catch the football. They were the slow guys who played more than all the guys you just mentioned.
And I want the athletic guy mixed in. How about that? I want the athletic guy that can catch that's fast. As in, a top tier wide
Marvin
receiver.
Harrison Jr.
I want Marvin to say, A.J. Brown, big body wide receiver. I would like an A.J. Brown.
Yeah, DK Metcalf. That's a situation.
DK Metcalf is still funny because we always go back and forth with the Hardman stuff. We all talk like DK Metcalf is actually A.J. Brown or Justin Jefferson. He's a very good wide receiver. But let's not act like DK Metcalf is a tier plus below those guys easily. Like, I know it's easy because of the Hardman comparison, and at least Hardman now has a walk-off touchdown. So
he's a tier below the guys you just mentioned, absolutely.
Yeah, but sometimes we act like DK Metcalf's consistently having 1,500-yard seasons, and that's not who he is.
The big-bodied guy, and I know Rashee Rice is only like 6 foot or 6'1", but like I feel like they have the sure-handed, get the ball, possession with enough speed guy in Rashee Rice.
Absolutely.
I think they need more athleticism in the position. I get what you're saying. You're like, but Tony and those guys, but they stink. They were athletic, but they were bad at literally everything else. I'll take an athletic guy who's just a little bit better at some of the things.
Yeah, but I'm sick of
like obviously I'd like the perfect fit wide receiver. But yeah, I understand.
I don't want the
everyone's tired of the 5. Yeah, everyone's tired of that.
I don't want the damn 5'11" guy that is super quick. I don't give a damn about. Give me the guy that is 6'3", pretty good speed, but can catch and is a great route runner.
This is
I'll
a
sign
little
up
bit
for
like
that.
This is a little bit like the asking Andy Reid to run over the years. He has like twice in the entire time he's been a coach had the type of receiver you have. One was T.O., and it worked fine. It got him to a Super Bowl. He hyperbaric chambered his leg, and they almost got a win as a result of it. But, I mean, he does that so infrequently. And, look, I don't want the 5'7" guy unless he's Tyreek again. Like, unless he's just that level of – but I'm like, I'll take the 5'11" or 6 foot if it's got true athleticism and like knows how to jump more than MVS. We looked this up because like part of me was like, wait, I'd ask Gold a question off air once. I said, does MVS just not jump as in he just chooses not to? Or is he just incapable of jumping high? And it actually turns out, just so you guys are curious, it turns out he's incapable of jumping high. He had one of the worst verts.
It was like bottom 5% or something.
Yeah, he was terrible at it. No vertical jump in the draft. It was one of his weakest athletic points across the board. He's just tall and can run straight with very little other things outside of that. God, I just hope that they get some people are mentioning other guys they want out, like Keon Coleman, or do you want Darnell Mooney?
Keon Coleman would be sensational.
He's projected to go.
Dunze is my dream wide receiver, but he's also just like Marvin Harrison Jr., where it's like, just
give us a realistic dream.
I'm just not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about those two players because it's just not happening.
Keon Coleman's
Coleman,
plausible,
but I'm talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. and Romeo
Dobbs. Or not Romeo Dobbs. Dunze.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Romeo Dobbs. That Dobbs was nice.
That'd be nice. I'd take him too.
Actually, I'll take
How tall is
Jaden
Keon
Reed.
Coleman, by the way? What's his height since we're talking about it now? 6'4". 6'4", 216.
That's
your guy? 6'4"?
6'4". By the time he gets in the NFL, work him up to 220, 225.
By the way, by the time he gets to the NFL, he'll be 6'2". Let's be realistic
We'll
about college listed heights and actual heights.
Let's call him 6'3", 225 rookie season in the NFL.
I like the sound of that.
That'd be fine with me. All right, let's get to what's trending. When we come back, we'll also talk about the pitcher who has a chance to do something very, very special in a KC uniform.
Cody and Gold. Watch the show on YouTube by subscribing to the @610 Sports KC channel. 610 Sports Radio.
Rev up the fun with the Honda Civic and HR-V. These vehicles redefine the game when it comes to performance and style. With sporty designs matched by powerful performance, the Civic and HR-V deliver a driving experience like no other. But what really sets these cars apart from the crowd is the spirit of determination that inspires everything we do. That's why we're KBB.com's best value brand of 2023.
Based on 2023 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book, visit kbb.com for more information.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000. Or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com. And I look forward to working with you.
JR and Company offers a lifetime workmanship warranty on every residential roof. Why? Because our roofers are that good. Kind of makes you wonder about the other guys. JR and Company, home of the free online storm check at jrstormcheck.com.
Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app, because right now new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code. That's FanDuel.com/CDOT. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, all on an app that's quick, easy to use, and you get paid your money quickly. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code and shoot your shot. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA, and also 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus specs that expires 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Former pro football offensive tackle Mitch Schwartz knows for a guy, buying jewelry is a daunting task at most stores, but not if you go to Diamonds Direct.
It's very simple and very easy process for a guy to go in there and not be overwhelmed.
Mitch found Diamonds Direct and has been back many times buying jewelry for his wife, Brooke, and he's never felt any pressure.
They're going to educate you about what you're looking for, what the diamonds are, how the process works.
At Diamonds Direct, we respect both you and your budget.
I think everyone's kind of searching for value. You don't want to be taken advantage of, and Diamonds Direct is leading in that regard. You're going to feel really comfortable there. You're going to have a good time. You're going to find something that looks amazing and that you're going to get the best value for it.
So if you're worried about getting sweaty palms when you walk into a jewelry store, relax. Take Mitch's advice and enjoy the experience at Diamonds Direct.
We have definitely recommended Diamonds Direct to friends, to other teammates. Everyone else who has been through there has had as awesome an experience as we have.
Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Get directions, showroom hours, and more at DiamondsDirect.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Gas, groceries, utilities, you name it, the price of everything is going up. And if you're stuck in a bad timeshare with rising maintenance fees, the financial burden can be crushing. It is time to get your finances in order and get the real facts about that timeshare that you are stuck in and your options to get rid of it. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has been helping families out of horrible timeshares for over 10 years and has put together a complete timeshare exit information kit that he will send you absolutely free. To date, over 30,000 families have trusted Wesley Financial Group to help them out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. Get the facts about how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation. Simply call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit and see how you can become timeshare free. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. Once again, 800-462-3333.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Back-to-back Super Bowl champions.
Derek Johnson with us here on 610 Sports Radio.
When it's all said and done, he will be the greatest, and I'm okay with saying he's the greatest right now. That's totally fine with me.
610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app. What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending, the news from Tom Pelissero of NFL Network. We were just discussing during the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Andy Reid and the Chiefs reportedly will begin discussing a new contract, which would make him the highest paid coach in the NFL. And by that correlation, the highest paid NFL head coach ever.
Yep.
And well-deserved, to say the least, and I think makes you feel even better about his standing long-term in Kansas City versus retiring. Not that he would go anywhere else, but versus retiring. And Mike Florio is going to have to throw some spin next offseason, and the next offseason after that, he might be right in 4 or 5 years.
That sounds fine with me. Andy can say as long as he wants right now, till he proves he won't adjust to what the NFL is.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. He has been, for a guy that's 65, 66 years old, he's adjusted just like anybody else, if not better.
Yep. Having the best quarterback in the league doesn't hurt. Next up on What's Trending, Royal Spring Training action today, 2:05. You can hear that over on our sister station. 1660 the score. Seth Lugo, one of the Royals' prized free agent additions, will make his first start of the spring after Cole Reagan's made his debut yesterday. They also announced today that Hunter Renfroe hasn't played yet in spring training, doing a little lower back tightness.
Okay, all right, it's early. You never like
there's like a month left of spring training.
Yeah, you never like hearing the back tightness thing, but it's so early. Just don't. That's why you haven't played yet.
Soft tissue with baseball players be like, they got lower back tightness. See in 60 days. NFL players that dislocate their neck and be out there 4 days later.
It's spring training. There's no reason to push it. If this was closer to opening day, then you get more concerned. But yeah, like you said, we got 4.5 weeks roughly until the start of the baseball season. NFL Scouting Combine is this week in Indianapolis. Marvin Harrison Jr., likely the draft's top wide receiver, going to do it without an agent, no testing at the Combine, and no pro day. He's going to meet with teams, this according to Ian Rappaport. Also, Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels will not throw at the Combine.
Cool. Can't wait to watch, I guess, what's the biggest name quarterback we're going to see throw? J.J. McCarthy?
Yeah, Drake May, I think, right? Isn't Drake May supposed to throw?
Maybe. Let's see if that number keeps going down. We can talk about that more in a minute.
Yeah, I think this is going to happen more with big-time players, and the Combine's not... I already think the Combine is overblown, just in general.
Same.
But I do think if you're one of the top prospects, do you need to show anything at the Combine? I would argue no.
I think you'd show enough on college tape.
Like, let some team be dumb enough to be like, you know what? We're going to move Marvin Harrison Jr. down. We're going to move Caleb Williams down because they didn't throw in Indianapolis. Or they didn't catch in Indianapolis. How dumb would that be?
Fine. Let better teams take me. Ones that are further down in the draft. Next up on What's Trending, it is official, reported over the weekend that it was likely a possibility, but the Cincinnati Bengals have tweeted it out, so it's true. Franchise tag officially placed on Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins. He'll make just shy of $22 million this year, unless he works out a long-term extension So a nice little payday there for T. Higgins.
Well, and a big contract coming for Jamar Chase. So, can they keep both? Everybody knows Tyler Boyd's probably gone. So, how long can they do a multi-year deal with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase while just doing one with Joe Burrow? My guess is T. Higgins is either going to get traded or he's just going to play on the tag. I don't think they're getting a long-term deal done. Do you?
I don't think so at the moment, no. I would bank on this, like I said earlier, kind of more like the Chris Jones situation where you get him for a year, you keep your window and team open while you're still trying to win a Super Bowl, and then work on wide receiver in this year's draft.
Lastly, on what's trending industry news, obviously someone that joined the drive throughout this football season, Peter King of NBC announcing in his column today that he is retiring after 44 years covering the NFL. He sat right in front of us, or the row in front of us at the Super Bowl. Little did we know that was maybe his final Super Bowl, although he admits in the retirement column that, he might get bored in 5 months and start doing some freelance thing or whatever, but announced his retirement today after 44 years covering the NFL. He obviously will one day be in the Hall of Fame.
It just depends on, I guess it depends on what kind of retirement. Remember when, what's the name of the guy who goes by the General down in Houston? He once said he was retiring 10 years ago and then was I felt like I saw recently he was out of the radio business now, and I was like, I thought you retired 10 years ago.
It wasn't quite 10 years. He still does some radio stuff.
I'm sorry, I can't remember his name.
John McClain.
John McClain. I was like, you should know this. This is more you than me.
I didn't cover the Texans.
But you were just in town, you know? Yeah. You lived in Houston. I thought that
just
might
think
count.
of Die Hard. McClain.
John McClain. Got it. That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Can I ask you something before we talk Royals?
Yeah, anything. We're an open book. Anything you want, Cody. Anything you want.
I saw, this affects the listener too. I saw someone send out the screenshot of the receipt for their parking for the KC Current. And we talked about it a little bit last week.
Oh, yeah.
It was after fees for parking at the Current for their 14 matches.
Yeah, I know
nearly
the price.
$900. Theirs was nearly $900. Maybe they skipped a game. I don't know. And over the weekend, they sent out a series of tweets talking about, the ways to get to the park. If you are buying the Current stuff, is this turning you off to the experience? Because I was so excited about the stadium. I love what the Current have done. Their franchise feels like it's heading everything in the right direction. And then the tweets over the weekend, after announcing the parking stuff that was nuts, the tweets over the weekend were just telling you how physically you can travel to places. You could take a bus or walk or ride a bike. I'm like, I understand that those are modes of transportation. What we're asking is, how are you going to get us with those things to your facility? And they keep mentioning a gap plan for until the streetcar expansion goes down the rest of the way, how to get us there. But that's saying what it is. Is it a bus? Is it a trolley? Do you want us to just walk? What is the plan to get you down to the stadium? It feels like it's just been kind of a bummer.
Yeah, they did. They sent an email to season ticket holders that I got over the weekend, and I think the plan issue more than anything else, Cody, was that everybody expected it to be different and challenging because it's not in the same site that we've had other sporting events, right? It's just north of downtown. And that this first year or two, because the streetcar expansion isn't going to the stadium yet, that would also cause problems. I think a lot of the frustration is also that they announced all this about 3 weeks before the season started.
Yeah.
And I think that, or about a month before last week. So that, I think did not help the situation. I mean, I'll be honest, I was trying to figure out, because I have tickets, so I'm trying to figure out how to because I'll tell you, I'm not spending $1,000 on parking. I can promise you that. So
you don't have that kind of dough lying around?
That's more than the tickets, or basically it's the same cost for the tickets, so I'm not doubling up for parking. For the first game, I'm probably more willing to pay. The problem is you can only buy the season parking pass. You can't buy the individual ones right now. If there's any available after, you could buy individual games. Across the street, Bally Casino is charging $75.
How are they charging more?
Wow, they're doing
nuts.
Look, they're smart business, so they're doing $50, but you have to buy a $25 gift card to their restaurant, right? It's not on them to come up with a solution.
The same prices. Are they bussing people over?
No, just to use their parking lot.
Oh, so literally just they're not even going to give me a little
just
ferry over on their little buses.
To use their lot, which is right across the street. So I was like, okay, so that might be an option. Then I was thinking, do I park at Union Station for $15, take the streetcar to River Market, and then take the pedestrian bridge for a mile?
About a walk?
About a mile walk.
Okay.
Anyway, so those are the options. I think this gets solved in 2 years when the streetcar expansion, or a year, when the streetcar expansion is done, and you will actually be able to take the streetcar, theoretically, from the plaza.
All the way from UMKC to the plaza, River Market, wherever.
When I say plaza, UMKC is right there. So UMKC plaza area, and I can take that right to the current stadium. That'll be my plan long term if I keep season tickets, but there's a lot of frustration. There's definitely a lot of frustration with it. I'm excited for the season, and I hope we get this kind of weather on March 16th.
God, I hope so too.
But yeah, that has definitely been not a great thing for an organization that I feel like is pretty much batted 1,000.
Yeah.
Up until this parking mess.
I didn't like the series of tweets that are just essentially like, these are modes of transportation that exist. You're like, yeah, I know that bikes exist, but like that's not offering me a solution to getting to your match. That's just saying bikes exist. And like, yeah, I get it, but like again,
and it was always part of their plan to make it more of a carpool commuter type of destination.
I know they're getting a discount if it's like more than 4 people or whatever.
The problem is the streetcar's not ready yet.
Yeah, that's it. Still looking forward to the stadium. I think it'll be cool, but the parking thing's a bit of a mess. Also excited about Cole Reagans.
Have to be.
Wait, what's this?
Oh, wow. We're doing it early today. We had our first one on Friday.
The mock draft sounder started back up?
On Friday it did. It did.
Wow.
It started up on
Friday.
Friday.
I really missed something out while I was gone.
Yeah, Friday we had the first
mock drafts are back.
Yeah.
Okay, who do we got, Q?
This one comes courtesy of friend of the show, Nate Taylor.
Oh,
so
Nate
I thought I'd bring that back in.
Okay.
He has actually an exciting pick. I think a lot of people that Kansas City sports fans would be happy about. He has selecting Adney Mitchell, wide receiver from Texas, at pick 32.
Adney Mitchell, okay. So at least, hey, look, good news for me. This is a player I've actually heard of. So great news. Just great starter for me. Gold, does he meet your height requirement?
He is 6'4", so yes, he does.
He is 6'4", 196 pounds, though. He's like Devontae Smith, rail thin.
That's all right. You mean Devontae Smith. Yeah, is that you're saying he's Devontae Smith. That's what Cody's projection is, that he will be
That's my NFL comp.
Yeah.
You know, from my copious amounts of research.
Look, as I said last week when we had our first one, last week had them taking a defensive end. This one has them taking a wide receiver. There'll be 1,000 of these by the time we get to the end of April. Well, a lot of it's going to be decided by what they do, as you said earlier, with Chris Jones and where I'll be at on do they need to take a defensive lineman or not. If Chris Jones is back or they sign one of the other top free agent defensive linemen, then I think they can get by with taking wide receiver in the first round. I know we all season long said you have to take one in the first round the way things win. I get it. I want to see what they do in free agency. If they bring in
for both positions,
they bring in Curtis Samuel plus Michael Pittman Jr., I don't think is likely, but if that happened, then they can take a wide receiver in the second or third round, and I'll be totally good with that.
Yeah.
If they only sign, let's say they only sign Gabe Davis, then I'm going to be telling you I want them taking a wide receiver in the first round.
Do you think that he picked Mitchell simply because he was born in Missouri City in Texas? Is he making that connection for Mitchell? This is my analysis and looking at his Wikipedia.
That was the
page.
city of my fake ID, by the way, Missouri City, Texas. No joke.
Missouri City, Texas was your fake?
Because when I was in college,
that's a little too on the nose, dude. I'm gonna not like. It just feels like that's where you'd get a fake ID and go to the University of Kansas.
No, I didn't go to Missouri. I didn't go to Mizzou. I didn't go to Mizzou.
That's a real city, but that's a
just
terrible city for a fake, I think.
Yeah, that's where the city. What do you mean it's a terrible city?
Is it harder to get fakes now?
I think it's way tougher.
There are a lot more. Like, so when I had a fake,
the IDs have way more, hologram and whatever you want to call it stuff on there.
I'm 7 years older than you. So like my fake, like easiest thing to pass off ever. There was no check. It was just like an ID. It was a piece of cardboard, essentially, laminated. I mean, there weren't things to check other than the date of birth, and then that's what they used to do to check me. Like, is this a fake? What's your date of birth? I can still tell you my brother's date of birth, and I can still tell you my brother's
It's got to be scannable, too. It's got to be scannable.
Social security number, if that would make you feel better.
It's got to be scannable, but now I just think there's way too many features. It's got to be way tougher to come up with. I mean, back when I was in college, literally somebody's friend that was doing these came to my dorm room, took my photo against the concrete background that I had in Jayhawk Towers, okay?
Nice.
And that was how it went down. That was it. Yeah, I think it cost me, maybe it's been like $100 on it.
And then work the entire time. You got your money.
Well, it's funny. So there's one place where it did not work. Almost got taken. So it actually worked in Texas. No questions asked, ironically enough. When I went down to Texas.
Of all places.
Yeah. Missouri City, Texas. They recognize the city.
Like that guy wouldn't make up living there.
Ames, Iowa was where I had the biggest problem using it.
Ames?
Halloween in Ames, Iowa. I was there for a road trip. And, that almost got taken away.
Who's stopping it from taking it? I only almost had mine taken away one time, and it was a gas station owner. That guy did not.
You see the text line educating us? Someone says you have to get them from China now. You said IDs are easy. They're from China. They pass the scans. Is that what people are doing now?
Interesting. If you're curious what Mitchell's major is, physical culture and sports, that is the most made-up degree of all time. I'm just going to say it. That's the most made-up degree of all time.
He's get paid to play
That's
football.
Underwater basket weaving.
That's
Physical culture and sports.
But I've always said this, which is like, stop pretending when athletes at this level are going to he is trying to go play, and he's going to be a first-round pick possibly to go be professional in football. So that's fine. I have no problem with the degree there. It doesn't matter.
Just saying that's what his major is. I don't know. He's a junior too, so maybe he hasn't. Maybe he has or hasn't completed it. Sometimes those guys get it done in 3. Sometimes need a little bit of extra. I wouldn't plan on doing a mock draft today. It's good to know.
Yeah,
I didn't know they're back.
You never know. You never know when the mock draft sounder is going to sound. That's why we have it. Thank you, Q. Full disclosure, wasn't one we even discussed. So you just never know.
I may be part-time, but I know how the show works.
That's right. He listens all the time.
I keep you guys on your toes.
I appreciate that. Well, while we're talking, we were going to talk about Cole Reagans. Let's do Cole Reagans here in about 10 minutes or so. We have some more time to talk about him while we're already kind of talking drafting and scouting combine. The news I mentioned during What's Trending, Marvin Harrison Jr., who's likely going to be the number 1 wide receiver taken, he is not going to do any of the normal stuff. Right? So no agent, which, hey, he's got his dad, can help him out with that. That makes a whole lot of sense. No testing at the combine. Not going to do anything at the pro day, according to Rappaport. You got guys like Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels not throwing at the combine. Don't you think this is going to happen more? And is it actually the correct decision? If you're Marvin Harrison Jr., why does he need to go to Indianapolis and run in front of a bunch of other scouts and show that he can catch passes from quarterbacks that he hasn't caught passes from all season long versus everything he did at Ohio State to put him in position to already be the number 1 wide receiver? If you're already in that spot, why do you need to do anything in Indy? Now, if I'm the projected 28th best wide receiver, okay, that's different. Duh. I need to go. If I get a combine invite, if I'm fortunate enough to get a combine invite, I need to go. But if I'm one of the top 2 or 3 wide receivers, quarterbacks, consensus, why not just do my pro day? Or in Marvin Harrison's case, why even do a pro day? There's nothing good that can come from him actually catching some passes out. You think anybody's going to say, man, you went from being the top wide receiver to what? The top wide receiver. I mean, there's nothing that it can only go bad for him.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. And look, again, if a team is stupid enough to take a wide receiver instead of you, if you're Marvin Harrison Jr., then they're idiots. You could burn them later. It's fine. Your NFL success at wide receiver will not be dependent on whether a team takes you 3, 5, 7, 11, 22. It won't. At quarterback, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not like at quarterback, your success as a player could really fluctuate depending on the quality of coaching you're getting and everything in between. At wide receiver, you can play or you can't. People are going to figure it out real quick. You can play or you can't. And whether or not you do these combine things, I just wouldn't waste my time. Honestly, it just, the closer and closer, there's 2 things right now, because the NFL is king, that I think get overblown for what you think is actually going to happen with your team or matters to your team as a fan. They are the Senior Bowl and the Combine. Those things, not that scouts don't show up, to me are more about networking than anything else. It is about sitting down. If you work for an NFL team, you get to talk with these other people. If you're a reporter, you get some better access than you would typically get to members of the front office. It's more of a networking event than it is any of this matters from a football perspective. They have decided on you, man. They've watched hundreds of hours on tape. And if you want to run a 40, they'll listen to it and they'll factor some small percentage into it. But it is not the do or die difference that maybe it once was when you couldn't get access to these players whenever you wanted them.
And Marvin Harrison is still talking to teams. It's not like you said, I'm not talking to you at all. Just meetings. That's the important stuff.
But he could do that.
He could
not have a combine.
I mean, I'm fine if you want to go to Indy just to do the interviews. Yeah. I think that's probably something you probably should do. But ultimately, you know what you're getting in Marvin Harrison Jr. from a skill set. There's nothing that's going to be shown at the combine. I think it's a much bigger deal for some guys that are a little more unproven. You know, that you were invited to the combine, but you know, you might be a later pick than people thought, and you're trying to surprise some people. You think that
look at my athleticism.
Your season ended because you didn't even go to a bowl game. Let's say your season ended on November 20th. Between November 20th and February 26th, you got into an unbelievable performance facility through your agent, and now you're 10 pounds heavier, you're faster, you're all these things like that's the guy that wants to show a difference. Marvin Harrison Jr., you don't have to prove anything to anybody. He's going to be a top 5 pick, probably going to go number 3 overall.
If you're projected to be a first or second round pick, and look, I get it because like the Senior Bowl really seemed to have helped that kid from Missouri, right? Like it seemed like it maybe skyrocketed him into a mid first round pick versus
Is that Robinson?
Yeah, Darius Robinson, who was maybe going into that stuff, but I'm telling you. Had he just done a pro day or like did a wind sprint on tape, people would have gotten there anyway. Again, it's just kind of like, it feels like it's taken some of the steam out of it, but also it was always kind of like a low level focus anyway. What are the only events we care about there anyway? Like as a fan, honestly, what do you care about as the 40? How fast are you? I don't know that I've ever cared how many bench press reps you do or what your cone drill time was. And now, because like your relative athletic score and all the stuff that can come out of there,
agents are telling them, a lot of players, not to take some of the. They've got rid of the Wonderlic, but there's the other test.
The other cognitive test.
Yeah, they're like there's multiple agents have said, just don't even take that because again, very little can help you if you're already one of the top tier guys. I just think we're going to get to the point over the next couple of years where more and more of these top guys, projected top 5
15,
picks, 15 is probably fair. A lot of them are just going to say, why am I don't want to do anything athletic here. I'll talk to you. Like, I'd love to meet with you, but that's it.
Like to have dinner. I always go back to like Travis Kelce describing.
Was everybody go to St. Elmo's there at Indy? Is that the place all the every damn reporter that goes to the combine talks about that place?
Oh, Texas right. There is one more. 816. Whoa. What about hand size? That does get discussed a lot, hand size.
Oh, yeah, that's
only
coming in 3
baby hands
days.
for quarterbacks.
That'll be on Thursday or Friday. So-and-so's hands were a little bit smaller, Problem.
Were
Big
Rasheed
problem.
Rice's below average? His hands? I think they were. I
don't remember.
I think based on, slightly smaller hands. So, I mean, he's screwed.
He didn't do his hand stretches beforehand,
Like, is there going to be some, remember we talked about the guy who got the,
9.5 inches? Is that right?
Leg lengthening surgery. Is there going to be some, football player that gets some, extra bones stuck in his finger just so he can have big enough hands to play quarterback or
I
something?
don't think that's how that works.
What? The guy was doing it with their legs. Remember we talked about that report that
that's just a random dude not trying to do anything athletic with his life. Did you just say, can someone get an extra piece of bone to extend their hand out?
Uh-huh.
Do you think that they'd be able to catch the football better?
I don't know. Better? Their hands would be bigger. That's the whole argument.
I don't think so.
Is your foot bigger post-surgery?
No. And I haven't had surgery yet. I still need that.
Yeah, someone's right on the flip side. Sky Moore had the most gigantic hands ever. Again, this tells you how much does it matter. I'm not saying it doesn't matter at all, but the overreaction is always stupid.
Yes.
Now, look, I don't think the Chiefs solely drafted Sky Moore because his hands were massive. But sometimes you would think with some of the reports that come out that that's going to be a huge swing.
No.
My arm is shorter post-shoulder surgery.
Huh?
Because when they tucked in my shoulder to fix my torn labrum.
They tucked in your shoulder?
Yeah, they had to.
Is Vinny's arm shorter?
We should ask him.
Yeah, my right arm is shorter than my left arm post-surgery.
All right, here. I'm going to send him a text real quick. Let's get to the bottom of this. He's going to think I'm an idiot.
He's not playing today, so he's not in the game. He's not in the lineup. So.
Oh, great. Okay.
So
that won't be
bothering Vinny if his arm is shorter.
Is your arm shorter
after torn labrum shoulder
surgery?
Dumb question from the show. He's going to be like, what?
This is what happens when you become a friend of the show.
He also probably had a better doctor than you,
Yeah, who did you go see? I'm sure the exact same one. You remember the doctor's name?
No, I don't remember. This was 2 years ago.
Okay, I said dumb question that came up during the show, but is your arm shorter post-surgery? We get to the, we get to the important stuff on this show. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Labrum reattached to the rim of the socket. Doesn't say anything about your arm being shorter. Drew, or not Drew. Q, I think you might have somebody might have screwed you over, man.
What's the statute of limitations on some medical malpractice? Maybe If they shorten his arm, it
How long
ruined his
ago did you
quality of
have-
life.
how long ago did you
People
have
keep looking at him weird because of his unequal arms.
You will not notice it unless I point it out to you. It's not like significantly shorter. It's
Are you
like,
sure it wasn't always shorter?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't think
not
when's the
always
last time
shorter.
you held out your arms like this?
This is so ridiculous, but yeah.
They feel the same. Mine do look
Yeah,
the same.
because you haven't had surgery. It turns out they're supposed to be the same length.
Okay, just checking.
Well, let me know how that text goes.
I'll let you know what Vinny says back if he texts me back.
Up next,
he
we'll
might
get,
just ignore that
We'll
one.
get to one of his teammates, Cole Reagans, and what he has a chance to do. Nothing wrong with his arm next.
You're listening to Cody and Gold. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every weekday starting at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Hey, it's Kling. There are many reasons I love Hy-Vee, the great values, the selection, the service, and I love to rack up fuel savers. And you can as well. Shop Hy-Vee on Monday, earn a fuel discount equal to the high temperature on Sunday and the amount you spend. If the high is 68 degrees on Sunday, I'll save 68 cents per gallon when I spend $68 on Monday. Heat up the savings every Monday through April 29th only at Hy-Vee.
Must look up code 80007 at checkout or promo code HEATUP when shopping online. See store for details.
The best deals at the pump happen when you shop the aisles of Hy-Vee with help from the first Warn 5 weather team.
This is KCTV5 Chief Meteorologist Luke Doris. Watch KCTV5 Sunday night at 10 for our official high temperature.
Whatever it was on Sunday means you save on Monday with your Hy-Vee Perks card. If the high was 63 degrees, you save 63 cents a gallon when you spend at least $63.
Watch First Warn 5 weather on KCTV5 this Sunday at 10.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru. We've added even more incentives to buy from us. An exclusive lifetime warranty. Your first maintenance is free. Lee Summit Subaru just discounted up to $3,500 off MSRP or 0% financing for 63 months on the 2024 Subaru Outback. Bonus cash, 0%, free maintenance, and a lifetime warranty. That's why you'll fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru. The Subaru A Lot to Love event.
The service contract is not provided or backed by the manufacturer of the vehicle. The manufacturer of the vehicle is not responsible for the claims or repairs under this service contract.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Jeff Briggs at Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with a public service announcement. We buy cars. That's right. Even if you do not purchase a replacement from us, we still want to pay top dollar for your current vehicle. In fact, to make the transaction as easy as possible, we just opened our all-new vehicle buying center located in our freshly remodeled service lounge. Simply visit us on site or go to sell2victory.com. Within minutes, my buying center specialist will contact you with an industry-leading offer. Once again, that is sell2victory.com, where our first offer is better than their last.
Low testosterone affects many men today, even men as young as 30. But finding someone you can trust for quality low T treatment isn't so easy. This is Jeff, the CEO of Promenic Restorative Men's Health, and that's why I'm pleased to announce the opening of our second location of Heartland Men's Health right here in Independence, Missouri. Because as a Promenic affiliate, Heartland Men's Health has the experience and expertise to get you the right treatment for your particular medical situation. Heartland Men's Health is a leader in treating low testosterone. In fact, we've successfully treated thousands of men for low T and seen the amazing impacts low T treatments have. If you're like most men, you'll sleep better, have more energy, and improve mental clarity, get better gains in the gym, and your sex drive will likely improve as well. So call us. Just $99 gets you a PSA and T test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. We have two offices, Overland Park, Kansas, and our new office in Independence, Missouri.
Gas, groceries, utilities, you name it, the price of everything is going up. And if you're stuck in a bad timeshare with rising maintenance fees, the financial burden can be crushing. It is time to get your finances in order and get the real facts about that timeshare that you are stuck in and your options to get rid of it. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has been helping families out of horrible timeshares for over 10 years and has put together a complete timeshare exit information kit that he will send you absolutely free. To date, over 30,000 families have trusted Wesley Financial Group to help them out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. Get the facts about how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation. Simply call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit and see how you can become timeshare free. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. Once again, 800-462-3333.
You're going to feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell our 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Get ready for the live tennis event of the year, the Netflix Slam, on March 3rd at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Join 22-time Grand Slam champion and tennis legend Rafael Nadal as he takes on world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz and witness a tennis showdown like never before. This live Netflix sports event promises unparalleled tennis action. Mark your calendars for March 3rd, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. It's Game, Set, Match on Netflix.
For John's 60th birthday, his family planned to drive down Old Route 66. But the trip took a detour when his wife got sick with RSV. It's a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems and hospitalizations.
This year, we don't want to cancel our plans. We're protecting ourselves with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine.
Abrysvo, a vaccine to prevent lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. It's not for everyone and may not protect all who receive it. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had an allergic reaction to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may decrease your response. Most common side effects are tiredness, headache, injection site pain, and muscle pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com.
So don't wait. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, because every breath matters.
Is switching your wireless service to Total by Verizon easy? Totalmente. And you get unlimited 5G data, $25 a line for 4 lines on the unlimited plan, at an amazing price, with no contracts. Should you switch to Total by Verizon? Definitely. Totalmente. Find a store or switch suavemente at totalbyverizon.com. Monthly rate when you activate with autopay plus taxes and fees. Discount begins the month after you enroll. Additional terms apply. See website for data management practices.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
We'll get to the random question of the day here in about 10 minutes or so. Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp. Q in for Drew today. We'll have Drew back with us tomorrow. Hope everybody's enjoying fantastic Monday, fantastic weather in KC, and you got to feel good about what you're getting from one of the pitching performances over the weekend. Yeah, it's spring training, I get it, but Cole Reagan's just picking up right where he left off from the phenomenal second half. He was sensational yesterday in the Royal Spring Training outing. Again, they're back at it this afternoon over on our sister station at 2 o'clock, 1660, where Seth Lugo will make his Royals debut, at least in spring training.
Official response from Vinny.
Okay.
It was just, ha, 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 ha. Oh. I have no idea.
Oh, there you go. Tell him thank you, Vinny. So no. Be like, thanks, so no.
That feels like a no. It feels like you'd know if your arm was shorter.
Okay.
Tell him to stick his arms out now.
Like, dude, it's pretty simple. Just take a photo and let us know. Please. Send out a tweet.
I know this is going to make no sense, but could you just check real quick? That's what Vinny had to say about it. Meanwhile, his teammate Cole Reagans.
Yeah, was throwing 101 miles an hour yesterday. I know it's early in spring, but I think he's probably been building it up differently than what we typically think. Striking out batters, I think
5 strikeouts in 2 innings.
5 strikeouts in 2 innings, and this is part of the reason why I know they're not putting as much pressure on him, and there's natural regression that likely will happen because otherwise he is going to be the Cy Young Award winner based on how he pitched. But I think you were selling him short a little bit last week when we asked about what you would say the expectation is.
I take a 4 earned run average and 30 starts.
I'm like, I think it has to be, and this was before yesterday, but it has to be 3.5 ERA or better. I think that's where he can be. And I think the Royals absolutely found a complete steal here in the trade. I know the Rangers won the World Series, but they didn't win the World Series because Aroldis Chapman was on their team.
No.
Okay? So it was still a trade in which the Royals have won. Aroldis Chapman was never a long-term answer for the Rangers. They won the World Series, but correct me if I'm wrong, did Chapman pitch in the World Series? And if he did, maybe, it was very few. So
yeah,
the Royals seemingly got a steal here, and Cole Reagans has a chance to be really, really special. You and I are both high on some betting markets for him. maybe the Cy Young, but to lead the majors in strikeouts as well.
Look, they're probably going to count on Strider not making his full number of starts. He led the majors in strikeouts by a gajillion last year. I'm not kidding. It was like 40 or 50 strikeouts.
That's why he's plus 150. The next closest is 10-1 or something.
Yeah, and it's why Cole Reagans was 80-1 when you bet him, and probably is still
35-1.
Yeah, I was about to say, God, I thought it was even higher than that. God, 35-1. So he's come down quite a bit. But as the text line points out, lefty throwing 101 with 20-inch movement, because that's what Pitching Ninja, if you don't follow him on Twitter, will break down some of the numbers outside of it. That's freakazoid stuff. I mean, that's not supposed to be plausible stuff. It had me looking at how many years they got left on his contract. I'm terrified. He's going to be out of town too quick stuff. 2 years of pre-arb left, and then an arbitration year. So 3 years left of control for the Royals on Cole Reagans, which is important. And again, I could be worried about the speed stuff, but I'll let that go for a little bit because normally you don't want him. You normally don't want him throwing that fast. But this is just the whole point of this. Is Cole Reagans is an extreme example of this. But this is why you should care about strikeouts. The Royals, in the last 8 years, in which they've been bad, we can agree with that? Over the last 8 years, have the Royals been a good baseball franchise? Anybody? No? Bad? They've had a couple of years where they've been mediocre, right? 75, 76 wins in that 500 ballpark. You know, in those 2 years, the two best years they've had in the last 8, since really they haven't mattered since the 2016 season. The 2 years in which they possessed the best record were the 2 years in which they ranked the highest in strikeouts. I know it's not just that one stat. I'm not trying to pretend like there's not other things that matter. But it took this organization way too long to realize that that was a thing that mattered. Everybody J.J. Piccolo targeted. Matter of fact, over the last 2 years, there's only been one player he's targeted that wasn't a strikeout guy, and that was Zach Greinke. There were a lot of other reasons why I think they were interested in him and went with Zach Greinke at the time. But this offseason, when they could have just brought back Zach Greinke again, they went with guys who have a history of being better at getting strikeouts than the rest of them. Cole Reagans, to me, is the extreme example of exactly why the Royals are going in a good direction. Look at the guys they've been drafting lately, and I hope draft again here in a few months. Just take strikeout pitchers. I'm convinced now that that's why the college pitchers wasn't a successful group. Other than Brady Singer, is there a single good strikeout guy in that group that has come to the majors? Are they all pitch to contact guys with good fly ball stuff? That's just not a way to operate. That's not how Cole Reagans operates.
Well, I think even how they've approached the bullpen this offseason, yes, there's still questions, some unproven guys in the back end, but they also went out and did sign some proven individuals like Will Smith, guys that can strike out. The raid the zone thing that you brought up earlier in the show, that is still philosophy, but they've got guys that have done that during their career, not young players that you're trying to teach and explain the importance of raiding the zone. They've got guys that have actually shown that they can do that in their big league career. And I think that's where you're a little more optimistic maybe on what the bullpen could be. That is still the wild card, I think, among a team that has multiple areas. But and by players, I should say, I think starting pitching we all feel way better about. Heading into the season, not even close. It is a big league rotation. Their fifth starter is the normal fifth starter battle that you expect from any major league team versus forcing yourself to start, Daniel Lynch or Jordan Lyles in the fifth spot. You're going to have a competition to figure that out the way it's supposed to be. So Cole Reagans, though, optimism should be off the charts for him. Understanding that what he did on the final 2 months of last year, that's probably not realistic because, again, if he does that, he is Cy Young Award winner. I mean, he is going to win a Cy Young if he does that. But can he be 80% of that? And you'll love it. It'll be a hell of a season.
God, man, if after all this they get a Cy Young Award winner for Aroldis Chapman, I mean, not just winning
he's 25
a trade. That's
a
Fernando Tatis trade.
He's 25-1 to be Cy Young.
If he wins a Cy Young, do you try to convince him to extend like Bobby Witt Jr. and just pay him a stack of cash?
Well, that's at that point.
Handle the offseason.
At that point, it becomes a completely different conversation. If he had that kind of season, I mean, that's special. We're talking a 2.6 ERA.
Honest to God, all I really want is just confidence that for the next 3 years, that's the halfway through the year, we're confident that they got a guy who belongs in the top 3 of a starting rotation because they've got some time. They're going to have to wait for the rest of the pitchers in the minors to actually be good enough to give a shot here. I mean, look at the guys they've taken recently, like Frank Mazzucati. They got some guys who are just, or Asa Lacy. Names that probably...
What's he up to these days?
Alive, I think, based on a report a couple of... a week ago. There was actually maybe a week ago, there was actually some reporting that suggested maybe he's coming along a little better now. But I mean, look, I'm not going to tell you he's If he ever makes the majors, I don't know.
Yeah, he's 24. Anyway.
But, because of where they were on some of those misses and the fact that all the college pitchers they took together in that one draft did not pan out the way that they wanted, they need guys like Cole Reagans and the free agents that they signed like Waka and Lugo to hold down the fort for a couple of years until they can right that ship. Reagans is, other than Bobby Wood Jr., maybe the single most important player for the Royals this season. Like, I understand where Waka and the other guys are. Reagans might be the... God, just because pitching matters more than hitting. I mean, you could almost make the argument Reagans is the most important player for the Royals' success this season. Bobby Wood Jr. is their best player, but for how they do this year, Reagans is a massive swing guy, right? Bobby Wood's Bobby Wood, at least. He had a tremendous year last year, and it didn't stop him from only winning 56 games.
Random question.
Random question.
I thought you had pointed at it.
The head nod.
Oh,
the head nod.
That's fine. It was a little discreet. For you, Gold. For you, Q. Over on the text line, 913-586-7610. Of course, you can always hit us up on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, all the different locations to get us as normal. Question I have for you today is involving an event this weekend. I assume by now we've all seen the video of Cam Newton people attempting to jump Cam Newton, in which he made them all look like as if my 5 and 7-year-olds and like 4 of their friends tried to attack me, and I was just like shoving them to the side like it wouldn't matter. Honest to God, it was an impressive athletic feat. As impressive as things as he did on the field, the fact that all those grown men were trying to knock him on the ground and they couldn't even like get his balance off. It is a good reminder that Cam Newton, before I ask your question, is 6'5", 250 pounds is what he's currently listed at. We can all tell he's in tremendous shape.
We saw him on Radio Row.
How
He's right across from us.
Many 6'10" employees combined would it take for us to win a fight against Cam Newton? All right, so let's just start. If it's just me and you, we're done.
Obvious.
We're cooked. We're done. Me, you, and Quentin, we're still done. We're not winning that fight. If we had a fourth person, don't you think a fourth person would be enough to win a fight against Cam Newton?
You just asked me if I saw the video, and I did. And how many people were going after him in that video, Cody?
5 maybe?
At least. And did they stop him? No,
they did not.
So why?
He was very
and they were
successful.
athletes down there. So why do you think that 3 or 4 is enough?
I just said
here?
Three's definitely not happening.
Absolutely not.
The 3 of us aren't getting it done.
By the way, that was just to talk about just some BS. Like just completely sucker punched him. That whole thing was a mess yesterday.
Okay. From the 913, Cam could easily take the entire Odyssey building. Every show constantly talks about how fat and out of shape they are. Someone says not gimpy armed Q. He's not going to get the job
See, if you
done.
didn't have shoulder surgery, man, maybe you'd have a chance. No, that thing was...
I mean, 5, 6 of us? I mean, there's a number. There's a number in which we just have the numbers advantage, and you can't fight off everybody. He's not Jason Bourne.
No, but I'm not mean
7 of us?
You'd be a moron like these guys were to go after Cam Newton. An absolute moron.
All 3 shows, all the producers. We're winning that fight, right? Morning show, midday show, afternoon show, and producers.
12-on-1, possibly.
That's 8-on-1. 8-on-1. We're winning an 8-on-1
about
fight.
Everybody. Okay, gotcha. I was thinking 4 and 4. Okay, go ahead.
Gotcha.
Like
We're winning
4 on all 3 shows, but go ahead.
Gotcha. No, it's only 3 on.
Yeah, I know. That's
Anyway, doesn't matter. It used to be 4 people shows in this industry.
Yeah.
Long time ago. 8-on-1. We're winning 8-on-1, right? Just not a single person on any of the platforms thinks we have any chance.
Well, no, I think it's pretty clear. Again, if you watch the video, you have no chance.
How long do you think you could last in a fight with him if it was just you? Could you
You'd
make
be
it a
knocked
minute?
out quick.
Could you make it a minute?
No, you get knocked out quick.
You think like 10, 15 seconds?
I think you and I would be knocked out in the first 30 seconds.
He would just like, I feel like it's like a cartoon. He would just like swing a fist and I would just like bury deep into the ground. Someone said, you need Bink. Like Bink's getting older. Like young Bink. Young Bink, let's talk. Okay? 25-year-old Jay Binkley, we're having a conversation. I'll entertain this topic with you. I will. But without Bink, I don't think so, man. Someone says Cody would try something unscrupulous. Probably, yes. I've made it very clear. I will fight dirty in order not to get my ass.
Cody's going to start biting.
Yes.
That's
what is
Cody
that?
biting.
That's part of this equation. I will bite. Now, look, I don't know that Cam Newton's going to care.
You're too short to get to his ear or anything to pull a Mike Tyson.
I just said bite.
You're too close to pull a Mike Tyson.
You got to do whatever it takes to win a fight.
Someone says, unless Mitchell Schwartz is on your team, you take the whole building, not just 6'10".
Wow, so we're just rolling in KMBZ? All right, how about this? Follow-up question. if there was a Royal Rumble style event in which each station was pitted against each other, who would win?
Oh, man.
So
in the building?
Dude, we got KMBZ beat. Crushed.
I think so.
Crushed. Come on.
Yeah.
We got KMBZ.
What about The Point?
They've only got a couple of shows.
I think the real question is once we get over to The Rock.
The Rock is where we start.
With Nivens and Johnny Dare, then it starts getting a little
feels like they've been in more fights than us.
Yeah.
I think The Rock is where we get into some problems.
Yeah.
Our
performance-enhancing drugs allowed. That also factors into that conversation.
I mean,
I don't know.
feel like we have the number advantage over, because like these music shows, they don't have
the numbers. We got the people.
Yeah.
But even if it was just, say, our best fighters against their best fighters, so it was like a 4-on-4 situation or 5-on-5, I still think we got everyone until, what about the Buzz? What does Laszlo seem like he's been in a fight to you?
You say you do something dirty or whatever. You never. I don't know what he could be capable of.
You think Laszlo? Do you think they fight dirty?
Complete wild card. Yeah.
That's a wild card. I'd say, like, if it's best fighters against best fighters, we might run into some problems starting at the Buzz. The Buzz and The Rock is where we start being like, I don't think, like, if it were just me versus Nivens, I'm pretty confident I'm losing.
Well,
like,
yeah,
I'm very confident
100%.
I'm losing that fight.
Is this going to be like a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out where we start, versus KMBZ and we finish up against The Rock? Is that the way we want to do this?
Right. Someone said, why not on Twitch said, who are your best fighters? At the station? Like, I can't imagine collectively you've been in that many fights. I have been in 3.
I think B-Dub's on the top of the list.
Yeah, B-Dub's probably
right.
Yeah, that's
the guy that you would want to be fighting with you.
Yeah, I'd say.
I think he's at the very top of the list. After that,
Drew might be at the bottom of the list. Let's just be honest. I know he's not here and he can't defend himself.
Damn,
dude, come on. He's the smallest dude. He seems like he's so not. He seems like a pacifist at heart. I don't think that Drew's a fighter. I just don't think Drew's a fighter.
I say
That's
number
all.
2 after B-Dub on this scenario. It's not Bink, not anymore. I'm trying to think. Rob, what do you think about Rob? He's got the height, bigger guy.
I think Rob's gonna have to fight dirty, otherwise he'd lose. I think if Rob is a dirty fighter, we maybe got some hope.
He's
here.
also got reach.
I mean, we're not boxing though.
Yeah.
Once you get into a fight, we're immediately on the ground, and your reach doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Something's up with your mic, man. You sound like you're talking from 2 miles away. I don't know. Maybe it's just on my headset.
No, mine too.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Was that better?
Yes.
Oh, do you have the wrong mic turned on?
No, I just, I'm loud, so I turned it down a little.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you.
Okay, that's
So
my
a lot of
random
people
question.
saying Bink. Okay.
I was just quickly on the Cam Newton. Why why are you picking a fight with Cam Newton? What the hell did he do to you? Like, just leave the man alone. He's just out here trying to do community.
There was some other video that came out that like one of the guys that started the fight was just talking trash on Cam Newton to begin with. So just wanted to cause a scene and just wanted to
trying to get a lawsuit or something.
I have no idea, but Cam obviously wasn't having any of it.
He was brushing them off like it almost
impressive.
Like it borderline. He couldn't even be bothered to move a half inch the other way.
Text line 913-586-7610 says, what about Dusty? They'll take Dusty after he has 15 bush lights. Well, at that point, I'm
not feeling the pain.
You never know. That's why I asked about performance enhancing.
If Dusty's in the mix, then I like our stations. I like Dusty added into the mix. He strengthens our core in general. But Dusty and I are getting old. Like, we're both.
Are you guys the same age?
I think he's like in between
a year younger.
you and me, right?
You're what? You'll be 30. You're 38.
I'm 39. What? Why is this new information?
Okay, so you're
I'll
30.
be 40 in September. 40 years old.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry, man.
Okay, so yeah, Dusty's
Plan
definitely younger.
accordingly.
Dusty's like what, 35, 34?
Yeah, I thought he was like in between you and me.
I know he's at least a year or two older than I am.
He also takes care of himself better than you or I.
I think that's fair now. I don't know.
Yes.
I think that's fair
I think
now.
it's true as of this moment.
Yeah.
Might have always been true, but it's at least true of this moment. I did want to give the text I was asking earlier, so I figured I should give you guys an update. If you're asking whether or not Professor Tapp is back, the answer is maybe. I'm just going to put it out here. Here's the truth. We're an open book on the show. If I want to teach at UMKC, they'll let me teach at UMKC.
Just say yes.
If I want to be a
Just say
professor
yes.
at a university, I'm back. Not just Avila. Go back to the alma mater, teach a journalism class. But it's a matter of, if I want to make the time commitment. That's really what it's down
When are you going to make a decision? Or are you going to come on here every week and
I was just
and
giving an
talk it
update.
out?
I had not been offered anything.
You
We
were
discussed
offered.
it.
I think you got to say
I had
yes.
one meeting and they said, pretty much if you want to teach here, you can teach.
I think you have to say yes. Why wouldn't you do this? This seems like a great opportunity.
At least for content for the show.
It's one class, right?
One class.
So teach one class in the fall, make some extra money, bring some content to our show on top of it. I think this is a win-win. Yeah, you should. I mean, once you talk to your wife, if she gives you the all clear, I think this is an automatic yes.
Automatic yes? If I can't fill in for one day, will you agree now?
Sure.
To be my substitute teacher?
If they'll let me, sure.
I don't know why they. I mean, you just, it is guest lecturer.
Mhm.
It's, like I don't have to get you on the tax forms or anything.
I'll take it.
Okay, the text line seems mixed. The text line says, one person says that he said he was 36 this morning. One person on the text line said he was 37 this morning. So I don't know, man.
People want to know, is what's the curriculum? Texting athletes about their arm length, and is that part of the curriculum for the class?
You know what? Sometimes developing relationships
relationship building
is important for the industry. This particular class would be on podcasting and digital media and like start to finish, like how you would go about that in the early process and what that looks like, both from like an editing perspective and from like a performance perspective. So a lot of class would just be like them recording a podcast, us all listening it together and then critiquing, I would guess.
This seems like this shouldn't be that bad at all.
Do you think they'll let me put some of their podcast on this airway and we could critique them?
Probably that's where you can get in trouble. My guess is that's where you would get in trouble.
Well, if I set the standard ahead of time, if the student gives me permission.
I mean, unless something.
What's the difference?
The problem is the only way you're going to want to play it if it's something that's hilarious. Like if it's actually good, you're not going to play in the middle of our show.
No, that's probably fair.
So that's the only problem. The only way you're playing it, like, you guys hear how terrible this was? I don't think you can do that.
You know what would be great show content?
What's that?
RateByProfessor.com.
Oh, man. God, me just being.
That's what I want to do. Somehow.
You want to.
Well, no, that's
ruin my rating?
No, not your rating.
just
but
read it.
I would want. Now we can't do this because of privacy concerns, I'm sure. But somehow, if I could get in touch with your students, and I would want them towards the end of the semester
to start ruining my rating.
To completely once Cody's submitted the grades and the grades are in the book, I would want some of them to give me the honest critique of you. Be like, hey, you already got the A, you're good. Be honest. What was the most annoying thing about Cody as your professor? That's what I want to bring them in for.
Okay, fine.
Rate My Professor's anonymous.
At the very least, this seems like great content for the show, which is probably not the reason you should get into teaching. But, I like to help mold young minds. Plus, it's the alma mater. I could be back with the Ruse. Been a while. Back. Would you teach?
Should say yes. You should say yes.
Would you teach at Kansas?
Of course.
Would you drive all the way there from your?
I would.
Okay.
Yeah, we've talked about this. And when I'm as old as you, Cody, one day, I wouldn't mind doing it.
Someone says, have the students sign waivers and live stream the class one day.
Oh, my.
Oh, man, that's a lot of pressure. I know we live stream the show, so that doesn't seem like a big deal. I'm comfortable at this job. I taught one time for 2 years at Avila. I taught it wasn't even like a full 2 years. I think it was like 3 semesters. I don't even live stream that. That feels like that's too much.
Now, again, there's some privacy issues there.
Again, they couldn't have cameras on them. Be like those teachers that have TikTok accounts, man. It's not you can't have it. You just can't point the camera at them. You can see my face and hear their voices. You just can't see their faces.
When are you making a decision?
I think I need to make a decision within a week.
Oh.
I don't want to make them. It's for the fall semester, but I don't want to make them wait around forever.
If your wife's on board, then this should be a yes. Do you have time? If you have time, you have time.
I'll make time. You know how it works.
Okay.
Like it's not. They said they'd let me teach it, whichever. Like if I want a Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, whatever. They said they'd they give me the flexibility there on that one. So I assume it's probably fine. You seem like you're on board. I thought at first when I brought this up last week, you were going to be like, please don't teach. Nobody needs this.
Well, I mean, I do think that was the reaction to the text line. I don't know. I think you should do it because we've talked off air. This is something that I want to do in the future as well on the side. So, and had somebody reach out a year ago. So, yeah, I think this is great. This is a good opportunity. You should definitely do it.
Maybe I can get you. Maybe you could teach at UMKC one day.
There you go.
I could get you your teaching path too.
That would work.
Now I just got to be approved by the state.
That might be a problem for you.
They don't run background checks today, right? That's just about the educational background stuff. They're not running like police reports on you.
Oh, they definitely are.
Remember when we literally just had a conversation about legal IDs and how they had or had not been used?
Well, I'm not going to bring that to the students. That's an on-air conversation.
Okay.
I'm not telling them how to get illegal
If only you
IDs.
could find this show wherever you get your podcasts.
I don't think they need Cody's help to find ways in college to get alcohol.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
I think they got that covered.
They'll sort it one way
All
or the
right,
other.
coming up next, we'll get to the 1 o'clock hour. One thing we mentioned on Friday about the salary cap, but maybe there's another thing that could actually hurt the Chiefs. We'll explain that next.
Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
This is the time of year to enjoy life. Stop letting that pain in your joints keep you from doing what you want to do this spring. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking long-lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Pro athletes have been doing this for decades, but now this life-changing treatment is available for you. So you can walk and run and climb stairs and play golf and move again pain-free. No pain pills, no risky surgery. This is an all-natural solution. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients who have reclaimed their mobility. Take action now and live your best life this spring and summer. And it's a great use of your tax refund check. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app, because right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code. That's FanDuel.com/CDOT. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, all on an app that's quick, easy to use, and you get paid your money quickly. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code and shoot your shot. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA, and also 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus specs that expires 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Yes, you're always better with a roof from JR. Veteran owned and veteran operated. We are hardwired to serve and protect what matters most. More than just a roof. JR & Company delivers peace of mind with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. That's right, a lifetime warranty that's even transferable if you sell your home. And no one offers more roofing options than JR & Company. Unlike most roofers who carry only one or two brands, JR & Company is certified in all the major brands. You can't choose the right roof if you don't have a choice. Start with our free online storm check tool. If there's damage, we'll help with your insurance, service, selection, and a lifetime workmanship warranty. It's why we say,
you're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrcousa.com.
No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, we have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu, second to none. And don't forget about our 29-degree man-sized drafts. Our happy hour will have you coming back for more. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-973-7809 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-973-7809. That's 800-973-7809. What do you have to lose? Call 800-973-7809. Again, 800-973-7809.
Gas, groceries, utilities, you name it, the price of everything is going up, and if you're stuck in a bad timeshare with rising maintenance fees, the financial burden can be crushing. It is time to get your finances in order and get the real facts about that timeshare that you are stuck in and your options to get rid of it. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has been helping families out of horrible timeshares for over 10 years and has put together a complete timeshare exit information kit that he will send you absolutely free. To date, over 30,000 families have trusted Wesley Financial Group to help them out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. Get the facts about how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation. Simply call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit and see how you can become timeshare free. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. Once again, 800-462-3333.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Hey, this is Trent McDuffie, and you're listening to the official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
1 o'clock hour, Cody and Gold here on a Monday. Now we're talking, Q. I can this compared to 11 o'clock hour. I can handle this. I can get back from break with this. Appreciate that. Q's in for Drew today. Text line 913-586-7610. You guys can always interact with us. Have we ever learned why Cody has been arrested? Yeah, he's told the story.
We've talked about this.
The mailbox incident.
I've had a couple of run-ins.
Mailbox incident of 1997.
I've had a couple of run-ins with the law over the years. Mailbox being the most notable. That was the one that required more than just like, a quick lawyer to take care of the problem. That required you had to do community service and stuff. I'll never forget that community service so I got it was a pretty small amount of hours. I don't remember what it was, like 30, whatever. It was a very small amount. Lawyer was good. Nice job by him. Didn't have to do that much. But the very first day I was doing the community service, this guy popped up. I was doing harvesters. I was packaging up stuff for people. The very first day, some guy rolled into the building. Obviously knew that people was like, hey, if anyone's willing to come over to this location and do this instead, I can offer you double. I will sign for double the amount of hours. And I'm like, am I allowed to go with this guy? And they're like, yeah. And so I loved that guy. And so I did 4 hours of work there and he gave me 10. I was like, sweet. I'll see you again next week or something. Dude, if you want to work me double the hours, I'm going to get this done in no time. I don't think he's allowed to do that, but that guy obviously needed help back at the warehouse. So problem solved.
Text line, what a badass. What an outlaw you are.
Yeah, that's definitely what everyone thinks of me.
Coming up in
definitely my vibe.
8 minutes or so, you want to hear what Russell Wilson had to say. Yes, it was cheesy. Yes, it was corny. Yes, it was ridiculous.
Very Russell Wilson.
All of the above. That's coming up in just a couple of minutes. But on Friday's show, the salary cap was announced during the show that more of an increase than everybody thought, $254 million instead of just the $243 million. So it was a much higher salary cap. And so naturally everybody's like, wow, well then they can just keep everybody or go sign everybody. I think it matters more on keeping in-house guys than it does mean anything they can do in free agency. I think it matters on retaining someone like T. Higgins if you're Cincinnati. It matters someone like Chris Jones or L'Jarius Sneed. That's what we talked about on Friday. Sure. But you were thinking that there's also a side effect here a little bit that stings if you're one of the contenders and you're trying to stay there.
I think it left the window open. I'll say something for Cincinnati in the sense that I already thought they probably had a 2-year run left on their window, Gold, just based on the fact that Burrow's check hadn't really started to kick in and they hadn't had to start paying Jamar Chase yet. But now I think it adds a year to theirs. So I think their window is probably 3 years now. And Buffalo's window was closed. Like, in my opinion, Buffalo was done. I had told you last year when we were picking division winners, you're like, I'm surprised you went Buffalo. I said, nah, Buffalo's got one last gasp left in it. And then after that, somebody else is going to start taking over the reins in that division and start controlling it a little bit based on their cap situation. They are still way in the red in the cap. But getting $15 extra million in the cap, you can outrun it again. You can restructure 4 different deals, cut 1 or 2 guys. And I think the Bills window, which I thought had closed, now has at least a year, maybe 2 years left open on it against Kansas City. Honestly, truthfully, I think that what this cap thing did to the AFC is left it as the same 3 teams in charge for a while. It's still the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Bengals as the primary competition in the AFC. Take a gap, and then you can start throwing in teams like the Ravens and below. If the Ravens want to consistently win, we can have a different conversation. But they've only recently come back to relevancy.
The teams, though, that already were slated to have some of the most cap space, they're the top 3 or 4. The Texans were slated. Commanders. For those teams, it probably stings a little bit because, they also get the increase, but there was such a gap between them and everybody else that they were just going to be able to do way more than the limitations. And now what you're saying, even with the Bills, the limitations aren't going to be as strong as there would have been with the old cap. And I said 253, $255.5 million is where the number is going to be, which is significantly, it's the biggest increase we've ever seen.
If they're doing it in 1 year, next year is going to be massive too.
It's going to happen again, at least for the next couple of years, while they're getting some additional digital streaming rights. And then we'll see once international money comes in, even more international games. And I mean, there's always some new avenue they're going to try.
More streaming exclusive games next year.
The only way the cap goes down or barely goes up is when you have a pandemic. That's what happened after COVID. That was it. You guys remember it went down.
Or a massive recession.
$15 or $20 million. Yeah, I mean, that's another question of whether or not the NFL is recession-proof or not. But I think it's the pandemic is the only thing that's really hindering the cap from, the cap went down $20 million or $10 million the year after COVID.
For those wondering about the stadium stuff, the Kansas City Chiefs did just send out an email letting people know that they're going to host a press conference to present initial renovation concepts for Arrowhead.
There we go.
It's going to take place on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Clark Hunt and Chiefs President Mark Donovan will speak at that. That'll be our first chance to get a look at what their plans are. I don't know, Bob, in the morning show, we're talking a little bit about the fact that the Royals and Chiefs both are claiming that they had more money on the table from other counties or as big of commitments from a tax perspective, but that they wanted to stay in Jackson County. I told you, and I'd asked last week, I'm like, clock's ticking. Like, people can vote right now on these stadium things. You need to announce kind of what your vision is for it. Can I give you a little, I don't know why, I guess we could have talked about this on the air. I have personally seen a couple of the ideas for what they're planning on. So I've got a general sense of what this will look like on Wednesday. And there will be, look, some of it is just going to go to stuff you're never going to see. Straight up tell you, some of it's not going to go to stuff you didn't see. But some of the artist stuff that I've seen in the early going is going to change the feel of the outside part of Arrowhead specifically, I feel like, is where you're going to feel that change. And then some to the interior as well. But at least on Wednesday, according to the Chiefs, we'll get our first look inside the stadium. What do you want to see, Gold? What do you want to see?
Yeah, so there'll be a Q&A will take place at the conclusion as well. So we'll probably carry some of that on Wednesday's show.
Right to start the show.
Might be, right when we get on the air. What do I want to say? I mean, look, when we had Mark Donovan on Radio Row and Clark Hunt, you mentioned the exterior situation around the stadium, specifically the parking lot. And will they add in, a little mini stage or something to the parking lot area? I was in Lambeau this year. You and I talked a ton about that trip going up to Lambeau and what they've been able to do with an old venue and add Titletown and all that. We're not going to get a Titletown per se, like we talked about maybe. But for me, the ribbon board is fine that they have. I still think they could do a massive upgrade with the video boards. And I don't know if that's what will be included or not, but having gone to something like, heck, even Lambeau just put in this past season 2 massive screens. Like the quality is unbelievable, and they're massive.
The Allegiant ones were amazing.
I think they could do a massive upgrade if they wanted to on the video boards. I know that's extremely pricey, and maybe that would take up way too big of a chunk of the renovation money. But that's what I would like to see. If you compare AeroVision to what some of the other stadiums have, it's not anywhere near.
I think I would really like, and they've given some like vaguity to this. We go back to this with the Royals and stuff like that. I'd like them to announce what their full renovation budget is. I know vaguely what the numbers will be if the sales tax thing gets approved in April. How much? This is the same thing. Look, you can call it hollow if you want, but John Sherman has made it clear that his plan is to put $1 billion into this project, or $1.5 billion into this project, and that everything that you don't fund through the sales tax, here's the dollars that I'm putting into this project to make it complete. What is Clark? What is the ownership group for Arrowhead planning on putting in? Is this $1 billion project overall? Is this $1.5 billion project? And I think we'll start getting some of those answers on Wednesday. But honestly, just like anything else, what's your favorite? This is rendering time. Wednesday is absolutely rendering time. We're going to react to what we see and what the stadium stuff looks like and whether or not you like the new vision for it.
Yeah, and I know they back in 2019, the Chiefs put in new LED panels for the current video boards, but because they wanted to keep the iconic shape of the football or whatever, or Arrowhead. I still think they need a bigger screen, but they probably would argue that we just upgraded video boards 4 years ago. But by the time the upgrade's done, it's going to be 10 years. It's going to be 10 years old.
My biggest, and again, I've seen a few, and I like the vision. I'm not going to pretend like I don't, and we can have a bigger conversation about it on Wednesday, but when everybody can see it, so I'm not just like generally conceptualizing for you, but when you think about what the stadium's going to be, it is important to me because I think you and I agree on this. I think Clark Hunt knows Arrowhead can't last forever. I don't think that that's what he thinks about his own stadium, and that eventually there would be a new building in the place. And look, I think there's a decent chance that had FIFA not come in and given them a bunch of money to do this stuff, they might just be building a new building. They weren't doing FIFA and all the money coming in there to do renovations to the stadium already, coming in through because there is the World Soccer Federation stuff. They might have just thought, maybe it was time to move on anyway. But I want it to feel substantial in the the feeling of the stadium in a way, if you're going to try to ride out 25 more years like this lease suggests. Because I'm still thinking in 25 years that they're building a new stadium.
Yeah, that was the huge issue when we were discussing not the sales tax extension, but just
they're asking for less time.
What makes sense? You have the Royals who are going to do a 40-year lease and commitment to Jackson County if this passes, and you got a 25-year commitment from the Chiefs, and the sales tax will still be going on past the 25-year lease for the Chiefs. It'll still be going on to pay for the Royals. And so, in 25 years, I understand that's a long time from now, but at that point, are you asking for a new tax to stay in Jackson County to build a new stadium then? Is that when you go over to Kansas at that point in time? That's always my issue, just putting, whatever the dollar amount is on the renovation to Arrowhead, and you're right, we don't have the exact dollar amount. Whatever that dollar amount is, putting that kind of money, which is going to be a bulk of it taxpayer money, if not all of it, we'll see, to renovate, yes, an iconic venue and one that we all cherish here locally. But I think it's the fans and the atmosphere that make it great as much as anything. And does it make sense, a stadium that will be, 60 plus years old by the time the renovations are done?
Yeah, ish. And then with another 20 years riding out after that, it's not insignificant. I mean, again, 80-year-old stadium, then maybe you decide it's too historic. Let's pump as much money into the infrastructure as we need to in order to sustain it. But I still just don't think it's going to go that way. Sky Fox over on Twitch, they said the first thing they want is better locker rooms, player facilities. Remember that player survey that came out that said they aren't good at any of those things?
They already did upgrade their locker rooms a little bit.
They did. But also, right now, your draw doesn't have to be we have the nicest facility.
Mm-hmm.
Your draw is Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in championship.
But isn't that why? Not from a player perspective, but this was the whole argument, though, why to build a new stadium instead of renovating is you are the kings of the NFL. Why not build your palace now versus in 25 years, which, to be honest, is enjoy the ride we're on. 25 years, Patrick Mahomes is long gone.
You could have Mac Jones level quarterback play at that time.
You could stink, and at that point, you're going to be asking for a new stadium. I'm stunned that they aren't trying to capitalize right this second, but I think it goes back to what you mentioned, which is the family legacy aspect, and Clark Hunt doesn't want to be the individual that tears down Arrowhead, basically.
And I get it. Like, I understand why he would have a hard time justifying that end, and the fact that it is one of the most historic stadiums in the NFL. It's just weird because football has so few of those. Like, baseball's got some historic stadiums, and it's the same like 3 or 4 that we all know. In the NFL, because I've told you before, just like in baseball, Arrowhead is technically in no man's land. It's not as old as the historic stadiums, but it's not stuck in like the 80s or 90s where you're just like, well, that's a tear down. Let's just get rid of anything that was built during that time, which is what all these teams are doing. They're like no man's land from a stadium age perspective, and they want to continue its legacy. Again, I don't think that the FIFA stuff should be undersold.
Well, they already got
money.
Yeah, they already got money from the state. Remember, even on the state of Kansas is also contributing money on the World Cup because it's a citywide regional investment in the World Cup. So yeah, the legislators in both Missouri and Kansas had to sign off and vote on measures to provide funding for those. That's already been done.
So if you already had funding pumped into your stadium, and now there's this thing to like pump more money into the stadium, it gets hard to say, let's build new. If FIFA doesn't get chosen in Kansas City, I'm actually kind of partially convinced they would just be talking about new Arrowhead, not talking about the renovations. But that's, again, is a good thing when you get things in your city cold, and it convinces you to do things differently because the World Cup is coming here in 2026. I'll be interested to see, because obviously they're going to maintain. It's still going to look like Arrowhead, okay?
Well, you're renovating,
yeah. Yeah, they're not. But you know how like Kaufman looked a little different after its big renovation in our lifetime. Gold. It looked. Well, it didn't feel this. It looked a little different.
Well, that's because, as we all know, like the whole outfield, you couldn't walk. You know that they added a whole new outfield experience, so that's why it looks so much different. There's still limitations with what you can do when you're renovating a building. The age of Arrowhead, and also, as you said, the dollar amount and the balance. If this is what's interesting. If we ever get the dollar amount, like how much public money is going in for the renovation versus family, because deep down, if they know that, hey, this isn't our this stadium,
this isn't our forever home
kind of thing.
You're not trying to renovate the bathroom because you're trying to buy a new place in a few years.
And I wonder if deep down that's part of the thought process here. But yeah, I'm excited. You're right. I like renderings. I'm excited to see what it'll look like, and I'm sure the exterior will look even cooler than what they've done in the prior renovations. But overall, still bummed, but we've known for months and months and months that they weren't going to build a brand new stadium, that they were going to just renovate.
Yeah, just so you know.
Wednesday,
10 a.m., you'll get some updated ideas on what the Arrowhead renovation plan is.
Okay.
I'm excited. I like when we get an update.
That'll be just outside of a month before
the vote. Well, still plenty of time for Patrick Mahomes to appear in a commercial saying, this is,
Yeah, I don't think it's going to have a problem passing. I'm not telling you it's going to win with a wide margin, but I will be stunned if it doesn't pass, based off of having the two tied together, first and foremost, having the Chiefs and the Royals. They were separate, whole different conversation.
Yeah, very different. Helps. I think it helps the Chiefs, just not as much as it helps the Royals. It helps that they're together. I think it's always easier to get the money when you're asking as a group, because it makes it seem like, you're asking for less because, like, we're sharing it. We're sharing that money. But it definitely helps the Royals more than it helps the Chiefs. There's almost no doubt. Sorry, you were going to say something that Russell Wilson said that was stupid.
Russell Wilson.
Because he's Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson, who likely is going to get cut here when the league year starts up, based off of how that whole final couple weeks of the season went in Denver and salary guarantees. And so he's going to get an opportunity elsewhere. We can discuss where that opportunity could be, but he was on with Brandon Marshall, the I Am Athlete podcast, discussing what he hopes his future is in the NFL.
I got more fire than ever, honestly, especially over the past 2 years of what I've gone through. Whether if it's in Denver or somewhere else, I hope it's in Denver. I hope I get to finish there. I committed there. I wanted to be there. I want to be there. For me, it's about winning. Over the next 5 years, I want to win 2. I want to feel the chill of that trophy again. I love the city and everything else, but you also want to be a place that wants you too. So the thing that I want to do is win, man. That's all I care about.
He wants to feel the chill of the trophy again, and he's going to win 2 in the next 5 years.
He's the corniest dude on the planet. Dude, he is.
Oh, man.
The corniest human being on the
he
planet.
is. I mean, of course he is. And he should be confident in himself. I'm not saying any athlete should be like, yeah, I know I'm not going to win. I suck. And by the way, he didn't suck last year. He was definitely better. He sucked 2 years ago. I'll tell you that. I think the question will be, what is he willing to do to start somewhere? There's some reports that could he actually be willing to take a vet minimum deal, which would allow him to start somewhere. He's not winning another ring in his career, though. That's a long gone. And that's not even a shot at Russell Wilson. That's the reality of the AFC right now. If it's not going to be Patrick Mahomes, I can promise you it's not going to be Russell Wilson winning Super Bowls in the next 5 years. Like that's the way it's going to be.
Is there a single other quarterback in the NFL you think has a better than 2% shot of winning multiple Super Bowls in the next 5 years, other than Patrick Mahomes? I think no.
Multiple?
More than 2%.
Yeah, not multiple rings. No, because Mahomes, let's say
he's going to stop you
over the next 5 years, there's a very good chance he at least gets one more over the next 5. So then you're trying to figure out 4. And do I think Joe Burrow's rattling off 2 in a row? Do I think Lamar Jackson's rattling off 2 in a row? Lamar hasn't even been to a Super Bowl. You know, Josh Allen hasn't even been to a Super Bowl.
Burrow's been to 1.
Yeah.
And he lost that one. He's supposed to win 2? Like, who else would it even be?
Let's ride, baby. Ooh.
All
that
of a sudden,
guy's winning
CJ
multiple
Stroud
rings.
becomes Peyton Manning. No, that guy. He won. He got his 1.
He did.
He almost got his 2nd. His coach failed him. I've seen him since explain, and it wasn't even that long ago. It was like a clip from like a year ago when he's like explaining again the decision for why he decided to pass there versus the look, and you're like, dude, just never bring it up. That is something you just never bring up ever again. The decision to pass, just never bring it up ever again, because you had a running back who was near the top of the league at that time. You were a run first, ground and pound, beat up teams on defense team. And in the biggest moment, you decided to let someone try to squeeze in a slant pattern. You should have just ran it. But no, Russell Wilson's got no chance. He lives in a delusional world, doesn't he? I'm dead serious. I think there's maybe like a 50% chance that he's even a starter this year. Who the hell is he starting for? Half of the teams that you think are bad,
New England.
Washington's going to take a quarterback. Denver's cutting him.
I think New England or Minnesota, if they don't bring back Kirk Cousins. But again, on neither of those teams are you winning a Super Bowl. Certainly not the Patriots. More likely on the Vikings end, but that's still small. The Patriots, could he be back? Could he get the Patriots to an 8-win, 9-win season next year or something, and be where he was with the Broncos fringe? Not out of it till the final 2 weeks. Yeah, I could see that. But right now they have no skill set. No skill players, I should say, in New England. Maybe they draft Marvin Harrison with the 3rd pick and then sign Russell Wilson. I think that's a mistake. I think the Patriots should be drafting a rookie quarterback. But that would be my answer to your question.
Even less likely if like Peter King in his last, I think, or I don't know.
Yeah, he's retiring.
Since he's retiring, he put up his Monday Morning Quarterback article today. He's still mentioning the possibility. I think there's still a shot that the Bears trade down. I think they're just doing that to field how many offers they can do it.
Fields is getting
and then
traded.
to just absolutely load up on the talent around him. If that's the case, that's even one less opening.
Yeah,
hypothetically, it's going to be there.
Fields has to get traded, man. I just don't buy it. I think Ryan Poles, coming over from Kansas City a couple years ago, I think he's smart enough to recognize you don't pass up an opportunity to draft a franchise quarterback twice for the guy that you're not even 100% sold on, in Justin Fields. It's not as if they have Josh Allen here. They had a bat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have Justin Fields who, best case scenario at some point in his career, maybe is a top 10 quarterback, right? Is that fair to say about Justin Fields? Best case scenario, one day we're saying,
people are putting up his stats in his first couple of years versus Lamar Jackson's, and outside of some other numbers that matter a lot, they're somewhat similar, right? Yardage, touchdowns, touchdown to interception, rushing yards, those things. But top 10, that's what we think about. And Lamar's a 2-time MVP winner. I don't think his ceiling's that either. I mean, look at this from the Russell Wilson perspective. All right, Gold, you're the Minnesota Vikings. You tell me a quarterback that you would start after Russell Wilson. Kirk Cousins. Would you rather have Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson?
Kirk Cousins, of course. That's what a shot towards Kirk Cousins. My guy.
I'm asking before we get there. Justin Fields. You're the Minnesota Vikings. Your choice is either have Justin Fields on a trade or
are they both on a one-year deal?
It's Russell. Well, it's Justin Fields' current contract. It's Russell Wilson on a, let's just call it a league average quarterback.
Justin
contract.
Fields.
Okay. Let's say Drake May. How about any of the young guys? Drake May, Jaden Daniels.
Yes. Anybody after,
all those are
as long as the answer is not J.J. McCarthy. I think he's going to suck. But anyway.
Okay, so once I get to J.J. McCarthy, you're out of the draft guy. How about Ryan Tannehill? Based on the amount of money you would expect him to make.
That's where they're about to say, I'll take Russ. That's fine.
Okay. But I mean, that's a lot of, How do you get a starting job when I would list like 7 people? Like, how many quarterback openings are there?
That's what I said. Really,
Maybe 7 to 8, and we're listing 7 guys you'd rather start than Russell Wilson.
Minnesota, New England, and Pittsburgh. Those are, to me, the only 3 landing spots for Russell Wilson to be a starter this year.
Yeah, the Patriots maybe make the most sense.
He can go to the Jets and back up Aaron Rodgers and pray that Rodgers gets hurt or something and he gets to play. Like, that's it. I mean, that is.
I'm not sure that's not Russ's best move in general. Well, just wait for someone to get hurt.
Maybe so.
This is a topic maybe we can do tomorrow, but like the percentages of quarterbacks who start the entire season for their team, they've recently done new studies on those since the Week 18 game. Seems like it might be having an impact on quarterback's ability to get through an NFL season. So at least Russ has got that going for him. We can definitely get into that maybe more tomorrow, but
up next, we'll get to what's trending, one of the best things I saw on television in a while, and what Charles Omenihu is saying about his future in Kansas City.
Cody and Gold. Watch the show on YouTube by subscribing to the @610 Sports KC channel. 610 Sports Radio.
There's just a few days left to take advantage of DuraVision's Friends and Family Savings Event, where you can save up to $1,000 on a LASIK procedure. And I've told you how great DuraVision has been for me. From the very first time I called them up for that free consultation, they made me feel comfortable right when I walked into their office, and they walked me through exactly what they could do for my eyes. The exact plan. That wasn't a one-size-fits-all approach. They told me that I was a candidate for LASIK, and so just a few days later, I went in for my procedure and was able to walk out of there, go to work the very next day, and now I just wake up and see without contacts, without glasses, and it truly has been the best decision ever. It makes my morning routine quicker and easier. It makes my travel experience, like when we were out in Las Vegas for the big game, easier. All of that possible because of DuraVision. They're the best in Kansas City when it comes to LASIK procedures. And right now, as I said, you want to take advantage of their Friends and Family Savings Event, where you can save up to $1,000. You just got to go to DuraVision.com or give them a call, 913-491-3330.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
The needs of modern businesses are always changing, but corporate cards haven't evolved in decades. Until now. Meet Ramp, the all-in-one finance platform that combines corporate cards with spend management software. Ramp is the only card designed to actually help your business spend less, not more. With Ramp, you can set custom controls to stop out-of-policy spend before it even happens. And Ramp software even does expense reports for you. No more manual entries, no more chasing receipts. And with best-in-class accounting integrations, you'll close your books in days, not weeks. Ramp gives you better insights and a real-time view of all company spend, so you can stay focused on the big picture and build a healthier business. Join over 15,000 businesses who have switched to Ramp and start saving an average of 5%. Modern finance runs on Ramp. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. That's ramp.com/sports.
My 13-year-old acts like a puppy again. Almost overnight, she's a different dog.
Perfect poops.
When people switch their dog's food to the farmer's dog, the effects can seem like magic. But there's no magic involved. It's simply real meat and vegetables with all the nutrients dogs need, instead of highly processed pellets. No tricks, just smarter, healthier pet food delivered in packs portioned for your dog. It's amazing what real food can do. Get 50% off your first order at thefarmersdog.com/no-magic.
Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app, because right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code. That's FanDuel.com/CDOT. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, all on an app that's quick, easy to use, and you get paid your money quickly. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code and shoot your shot. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA, and also 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus specs that expires 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
You've heard it said, he's a diamond in the rough. Or maybe, diamonds are forever. Here's something else I've learned about diamonds. They're just pieces of coal put under pressure for a long, long, long time. So when I start feeling like I want to give up, I think about that little piece of coal. And if that piece of coal can make something of itself by not giving up, so can I. Persistence is in you. From PassItOn.com.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Max Motors. 9 major vehicle brands to choose from. MaxMotors.com. Going on at all Max Motors locations.
Love it or trade it now.
New 2023 Dodge Charger. Max easy price, $34,987.
Pick your model, choose your color. MaxMotors.com.
With approved credit, stock number S230055. Expires February 29, 24.
What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on What's Trending, we just mentioned in the last segment, the Chiefs announcing they're going to host a press conference on Wednesday at 10 a.m. to present initial renderings for what a renovated Arrowhead Stadium would look like. Again, this requires the 3/8 cent sales tax extension to pass on April 2nd, but it'll be the first time where we actually see some sort of real plan from the Chiefs on what they plan to do in a renovation with the taxpayer money. Also, someone just pointed out to me on Twitter, like, we'll officially get to hear what the Chiefs plan is on the site of Kauffman Stadium. You know, we've all assumed, okay, they're going to tear down Kauffman, they're going to build something there. Well, what is that something? Do they have those answers for us?
It's going to be weird if the initial rendering includes just a demolished Kauffman.
Yeah, they're initial renderings for a reason. I mean, think about that. They're really not going to be, maybe they'll answer this Wednesday. When do you think the timeline is for the Chiefs? Because we know the World Cup, as you highlighted, and then the Royals aren't leaving until after the 2027 season. So you can't really do anything there until 2028 anyway.
Not effectively, no.
You know, like
not unless the Royals are going to go play it.
No, that's not happening.
The T-Bones, well, Monarchs now, but still like to call them the T-Bones. I don't think that's happening either. Next up on What's Trending, Andy Reid working on a new contract that, according to at least Tom Pelissar, now confirmed by multiple other reports, that would make him the highest paid coach in the NFL. Deservedly so, obviously. Gold and I both think, look, I don't think it's accidental Pelissar said working on a new contract, not working on a contract extension. Andy Reid's got 2 years left on his deal. I think if he gets a new contract, it's coming with years, or at least the addition of 1 or 2 years. I'd be surprised if this doesn't mean Andy Reid's got some more years under his belt. Just so you know, if he signs a 4-year deal, do not let Mike Florio convince you next year what happens if he retires. He's made it very clear, based on the number of years he signed, he's planning on at least playing part of that contract.
It won't stop some of the national media next year, playoff time, whether it's Super Bowl week or not, and like, could this be the last hurrah?
Always.
It's stupid. It's going to happen every year the rest of his career. Next up on What's Trending, Royal Spring Training Baseball today, 2:05, first pitch against the Cubs. That will air over on our sister station, 1660. Seth Lugo gets his first start of spring. Also, a little bit of news from Andy Rodgers. Hunter Renfrow dealing with some lower back tightness. That's why he has not been in a spring training lineup yet.
Next up on What's Trending, Adam Schefter reporting that the Raiders are going to attempt to sign free agent running back Josh Jacobs, but are not expected to tag him if they're unable to get a deal. Remember, they screwed up this whole deal with Jacobs. They had him under contract, decided not to pay him, ended up paying him more. Then he had a great year and is now available free agency. His franchise tag would be $14 million. That's why they're not going to franchise tag him, because of the penalty for tagging someone 2 times in a row. They are going to try to work out a deal, but they will not franchise tag him if a deal isn't struck.
Interesting to see just what the Raiders offseason is. We know they got a new head coach, and then
I don't know.
They don't have a quarterback.
They got to kind of restart there, man.
Devontae Adams, they tried to trade him.
I would.
That feels like a draft day or draft night trade if they were to do something on the Devontae Adams route.
Maybe.
Next up on What's Trending, Scouting Combine is going on this week in Indianapolis. Marvin Harrison Jr., who will be the top drafted wide receiver, most believe, will not have an agent, will not test at the Combine.
Okay.
Likely to not have a pro day, according to NFL Network. So he's doing things a little bit different. I think it's probably something we're going to see any of the guys that are projected to be top picks do going forward. I think it'll be pretty common. What does he have to gain by working out at the Combine? Nothing. I mean, it can only go bad. It can only go bad.
Yeah.
And like, not even, he would have to get hurt, but like, it can only go bad.
Or you ran like a slow 40 one time.
Who cares?
And people like care. Just don't do it. What's the point?
And then also Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels will not throw at the Combine. They'll throw at a pro day.
Yeah.
That's been a trend for a while. Now, doesn't mean like Drake May, someone else that's further down the board maybe. He could be number 2 overall. We'll see. Drake May is going to throw. Saw Merrill Hodge today.
You know why he's probably throwing? Because some of the projections have Jaden Daniels ahead of him now.
Yeah.
So the second somebody starts jumping in the list, you're like, hold on, I'll throw. Let me show the old arm talent off before we get there. What about Merrill Hodge?
I saw a quote from Merrill Hodge.
Still around?
I know, that's what I was
Not dead. I just meant like around. I haven't seen him cover any football in a while. I didn't mean dead.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, though. Merrill Hodge is still relevant. Anyway, he did have some comments today. He said he would stay. He would not draft Drake May at all. He doesn't think he's a first rounder.
I didn't even think he was covering sports anymore. Next up on What's Trending, industry news, but still important industry news when you talk about the biggest names in the sport. Peter King announced today via his article and on social media he's planning on retiring. So no more Peter King. That feels like that's like the big broadcaster. That's like the Bob Costasy of writing, right? Peter King is the single most well-known football writer in America. Does that seem fair to you? On the writing end, he is equivalent of the major broadcasters.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, 44 years covering one league and doing it at the level. I think the respect factor is pretty clear.
Who's going to get to kick it with Andy Reid after these games? He was always getting the scoop on Andy.
In Peter King's column, he pointed out 4 or 5 other columns/writers that he enjoys, kind of like passing the baton a little bit. He mentioned Albert Breer, who does that for SI. He's mentioned a friend, not a friend, I don't know if he's a friend of the show. So we've had on the show, Benjamin Solak from The Ringer. And he praised him. He said he's the young. Great. He said he's the next kid to come up in the business. And then he mentioned Mike Florio. And then the third name, I apologize.
They're sitting near each other.
There was another name, and it's gonna drive me crazy. Oh, Sando.
Mike Sando.
Yeah.
All right. If I get a vote, if we're just like physically voting on passing the baton to Peter King, I'd like to vote Benjamin Solak, please.
Yeah, that's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Someone on Twitter at JJ Ringer says in response to the tweet that I said about the renovation press conference, said, simple, Google tallest statue in the world, $1 billion, 800-foot tall statue of Patrick Mahomes. No other renovations needed at Arrowhead.
Just one?
Just an 800.
Like it's the Christ the Redeemer, but it's just Patrick Mahomes holding his arms out above the city?
It's just Mahomes over the entire stadium. It's just Mahomes, and then
honestly, that would be the funniest renovation plan they could announce. And you'd be like, God, do I want to pay for this? Maybe kind of.
And then it would have also some spots that could be added. So he would have the Lombardis that could be added, and up to 10. So he would already have 3 of them
empty spots.
Holding 3, but there would be some slots they could add on eventually, so he can hold 5, 6, 7, 8 Lombardi trophies.
It's just a Mount Rushmore, but it's only his face.
That's right.
For different Super Bowl eras. You're going to carve in a new Mahomes face. Like the most famous face he makes in the season, right? Whether it's tongue out one in the playoff run.
Yeah, the MJ tongue out.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which one it is. Just a different face for each title run. The text line is also...
where he's limping on one ankle.
Yeah.
right? Where he's fully healthy running, right? You just come up with the different styles of Mahomes that have
So
won.
you want a movable...
bendable. It's like Gumby.
You want a statue that can be... You can hit a button. It takes like an hour to get into a different formation, but a different stance. So every hour, it can actually change to different things. That's what you're wanting?
Like when he plays the Bengals, it's that face he's making when he says, I'm here. I'm here. Just whichever version.
Oh, and then it has a button they can push that.
Yeah, it can say
Burrowhead my ass or whatever. It can just have different. It can have different things.
Yeah.
The sound bites are actually
Good luck.
The sound bites aren't from Mahomes. They're actually just Travis Kelce. They're just Travis Kelce sound bites. That's how you can tie Kelce.
Exactly. Texan also wants to know whether or not from the 816. Hey, Gold. Talk me out of being a degenerate. Taking the Royals alt -1.5 at +135. Are you out here betting on spring training games?
I did on the first one. Well, the first game.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah.
Bet on any more since?
I have not. I have not.
Spring training baseball, man. That is not something to be betting on.
I do every year for the first game of the year.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Like an honor.
It's every game.
Baseball starting, I'm going to put a wager on it.
Yeah, just the first game of the year.
Did you win it?
Today, no, because the Royals lost.
You just bet on the Royals to win. Got it.
That was you couldn't bet anything else. Just the total or the Royals win. There wasn't. Drew Waters hit a home run. I couldn't bet on that.
Someone says they're fine with it, but they need to be able to see it from Smithville. Look, the stadium.
I think that'll
the
be
one
fine.
we're describing, you're going to be able to see it from across. I mean, again. Think about like the world's largest statues and just assume that it's like that size, just standing over Arrowhead.
I know we've mentioned Union Station is kind of that iconic building.
It could be this giant.
And everybody has said that
Mahomes
Union Station like is our version of the arch in St. Louis. Well, actually, this Mahomes statue will be our version. You'll know you're in a city of champions, actually. A city where we actually win championships in the last decade or so.
Well, he's making it hard for anybody else
from a football stadium perspective.
Actually, just last decade, this city's won a lot of championships. Yeah. We're not even a full 10 years
St.
past
Louis
the Royals one.
St. Louis should be happy the Blues got him one. Otherwise, it'd be a long drought. The Blues got him one over there.
I think that's what's made, honest to God, I'm not even kidding, because like it's good to enjoy your own things. And I know that like my therapist might even tell me, maybe don't take pleasure in other people's defeat. In sports, can we make an exception for that? Because not only is it enjoyable to watch Kansas City have the sports success it has, it makes it sweeter knowing St. Louis isn't doing jack. The Yankees haven't won a World Series since before the last time the Royals did. It does make it sweeter. I enjoy the agony of the pain of the others in this scenario.
There are certain franchises and cities that you can enjoy seeing win if your team's not or your city, and then there's some where you never win again, please.
The Cowboys.
Yeah, like that's fun. That's
been
funny.
a really long time since
the Yankees will always in the city of New York. Any sport, like let's be like the Knicks, the Yankees, the Jets, like any of those franchises just suck forever. I do enjoy
Boston sports. Too. All Boston sports.
Yeah, also if your fan base is just a-holes, I'm gonna root for you to lose forever.
Philadelphia.
And Phillies won recently, but if
I didn't mind the Phillies. They didn't bother me. You know?
They were a likable team, right?
Yeah.
That's what they were fun.
Bryce Harper's fun.
Yeah.
He's Mr. America, it felt like. I was okay with them maybe.
But there's definitely some fan bases you're like, no, screw you.
Yankees at the top of the list.
Yankees.
Cardinals fans, because they're always talking about stupid World Series titles from like 1901. It's like it wasn't even a league. They were playing like linen napkins for uniforms. I'm like, I don't care about those championships.
Well, those linen napkins might be better than what we got going on in baseball right now, man.
No kidding.
Do you think you can see through the linen napkins as much?
Some of the photos that people are sharing out of those, y'all need to. You need Jesus or something. You need some. Get some help. Stop sharing these photos for the rest of us to see.
There's a weird so Twitter's full of bots right now. It's been this way for a couple months. Specifically, it's gotten bad. There's way too much. So those aren't leaks. Those are just photos that are of the uniforms being see-through. There's way too much stuff getting leaked out on X from athletes and from celebrities and stuff that we just don't need to see. I don't need people leaking. You mentioned the Drake thing a week or two ago.
What, you go digging for that?
I could not find it right there on the timeline. The other one that happened, fortunately, I did not see last night. I guess Sauce Gardner had something leaked last night. Somebody hacked his Snapchat from way back when and started, posting some things.
I missed that one. Uh-oh.
That also was out there.
Y'all got to stop taking video of yourself naked.
Well, that's another solution.
I was going to say it. If you don't want that out there.
Way to victim blame.
Avoid. I'm definitely not doing that.
Don't save it don't save it in your Snapchat memories. Don't save it in your Snapchat.
That's not your favorite Snapchat memory?
It's like what are you... It sounds like based on Sauce Gardner, for those that don't know, he's a quarterback for the Jets. Someone hacked his Snapchat.
But those were stuck in his memories?
Access to... See, he said some of these photos that were leaking out were from when he was in like high school or something. Like they're not new photos or whatever.
He was wilding out in high school. Look, I barely had a cell phone in high school. Maybe things had been different if they'd given me.
Well, Connie, everybody...
High school's a time for not thinking.
There's 9-year-old kids with Apple Watches and phones. You know what I mean? It's different.
My kid asked for a phone every once in a while. I'm like, it's never going to happen. She's 7. I want a phone. I'm like, no chance.
Whether it's the actual Apple Watch or not, I do know a very popular thing right now. Even if your kid's like 8 or 9, people are getting like whether it's the Apple Watch or some other watch though from a emergency perspective. Like
Can I just like AirTag him or something?
My nephew, one of my nephews, a lot of people at his school, and so he ended up getting one because a lot of the kids have. Now it's just for emergency calls. You can add your parents and basically 911, and it's got a tracking thing. And now that their kids starting to do more activities even at a younger age and stuff, and so be able to access. I know. I thought it was. I said what?
9?
But it's something people are doing.
I don't want to give my kid a phone or an Apple Watch at 9.
But it's it's happening.
That sounds terrible. Speaking of wagering and this person's decision, you know what? Do it, man. Bet on the Royals alt line. You only live once, sir. Go ahead.
It had been a while since I watched SNL anyway, and usually now I just watch when there's the clips come out.
Yeah, the clips that come out on social.
This was one of the best SNL moments in a while, and I obviously really appreciate it because it had to do with sports betting. But in general, you have to applaud the work done on this. This was a skit from Saturday night, SNL, Rock Bottom Kings gambling site. Let me just play you this.
The thrill of victory. The satisfaction of placing a bet and watching it hit big.
The exhilaration of an upset only you saw coming.
With betting apps right on your phone, it's easier than ever to turn your passion for sports into cold, hard cash.
And with so many games to bet on, you almost can't lose.
But there's a dark side as well.
We all know a friend who struggles with online gambling.
A friend who's on the verge of losing everything. His house, his family, his entire life.
And now you can bet on exactly how he'll lose it all.
With Rock Bottom Kings.
It's the only app that lets you take prop bets about how your degenerate gambler friend is finally going to hit rock bottom.
Will it be goes double or nothing on a random WNBA game?
Or bets his child's college fund on the coin toss?
And when your friend is desperate for cash, you can bet on what his lowest moments will be. Will he take out a life insurance policy on his own mother? Will he set up a fake GoFundMe that says he has leukemia? And what will he sell first, his PS5 or his kidney?
And you can build a parlay about everything that could happen to him. Divorce, marries rich old widow, arrested for elder fraud, and fakes his own death, but is immediately caught when he uses an app to gamble.
With Rock Bottom Kings, you'll feel like you're in the game of your friend versus his horrible demons.
But again, addiction is a real problem.
And we take it very seriously.
That's why all these gambling ads are full of cash, gold, fireworks, and flames exploding everywhere.
Because you're not a loser. Your friend is.
They say the house always wins. Well, now you're the house, and your friend is probably gonna lose his.
Does it seem a little cruel to bet on your friend's devastating addiction? Sure, but it's also hilarious.
So however your friend bottoms out, make sure you cash out at Rock Bottom Kings.
Download Rock Bottom Kings today, because gambling is serious. Seriously awesome.
Rock Bottom Kings. He's the one with the problem.
So that was on SNL. One of their, it's great work there. Rock Bottom Kings. So many games you almost can't lose.
Does it make you feel? I mean, there's some like.
Well, that's why it's funny. That's usually how this works.
Like,
with how spoofs work. Usually, there's some truth within
the
that.
chasing part of it is really what it comes down to. Like, they're not the losers. You're not the loser. They are. You can. You only can win.
But you can bet on how your friend will actually. You know what? Will your friend sell his kitten? Or what was the other example they gave?
I don't remember the other one.
What will he sell first?
He'll sell his kidney or a PS5.
Yeah, kitty or kitten. Anyway, same thing applies.
Kidney or a PS5.
Mm-hmm. So good. That's my favorite. It's my favorite in a while.
So I only saw that skit and maybe one other. I guess everyone was saying that the entire episode was very good.
It was. I guess one of the NBC affiliates in Wisconsin didn't air SNL because they didn't like the Green Bay. There's a segment about Green Bay Packers and toys.
Really? So he's choosing not to air it based on that?
I saw that clip as well. Someone on the text line brings up the Packer toys. That one, there was some controversy around. I have no idea why they didn't air it in Wisconsin. But
I'm looking at a new angle of the court storming that took place.
Oh, Filipowski?
Uh-huh. And it's like from the vertical angle, so you really get a good sense of it. You can see, and I think this tweet is not inaccurate, but it's also just ignoring one major component. It said, hey, you can see where he was injured and where a fan kind of taunts him a little bit after he got hurt a little bit. And taunts him a little bit. He just says something to his face, which I assume any college player would say.
I'm watching it as well right now.
The angle also clearly shows him intentionally throwing, like he throws a bow at a guy before the guy had even made contact with him.
Yeah, I mean,
it's court storming, man. Just get the players out of the way, and none of this matters.
Yeah, so it's an interesting angle. I mean, I clearly he's trying to get off the court because he's in a terrible spot here because the fans already rushed. The quick reaction to ban court storming is ridiculous. We mentioned this earlier in the show, and a lot of the headlines because it is a Duke player, right? And so that is obvious. But also, 90% of these schools, man, have figured out a plan to where court storming can still be safe. They have mastered a lot of universities. You have the rope along the scores table. You have 10 or 15 security guards that aren't worried about stopping the kids because you're not from running on the court. You're worried about protecting and making sure the kids don't get toward the players. And in this spot, it wasn't a last-second buzzer-beater shot. You had some time to figure this out. I blame John Curry, who was the athletic director at Wake Forest.
He had a chance to learn from this in previous times.
If you Google John Curry court storm, you'll notice there's the same quote he almost gave back in February of 2015 when he was the AD at K-State. So it's clearly just not been a priority for John Curry safety of events like this. Most schools, and K-State has solved some of their problems, Missouri has as well, like some of these other schools have figured out how to have a safe environment by protecting the players. So we don't need to ban court storming. It's an overreaction. Put the blame on Wake Forest and their crappy security measures.
That's what this comes down to. Also, never, just a general rule of thumb. Do not change a rule in a sport because one thing happened once. Okay? You know how many court storming?
No, in fairness, you would admit it's not the first time there's been an incident in court. Like, as much as I'm saying don't ban it, let's not act like this was the first time.
Someone got hurt.
Yeah, but there's been other incidents over the last 15 years.
It's a very small percentage.
But they have improved. They have figured out, most of the schools, how to protect the players. Yeah. And this was just, to me, bad on, Filipowski, there's some people will completely disagree with this. I think there's some on him here. What I mean by that is it's not a last-second shot. You know that you're Duke. You know you're about to – it was not –
You chose Duke for a reason. I'm just saying, one of the 5 programs that gets stormed on all the time.
If you're him, it was – now, the court storm happened in about a half second. It was quick.
Yeah,
but
it was.
Overall, the Caitlin Clark thing a couple weeks ago as well got ran into. I don't have an issue with court storming. I stormed a field when I went to college at KU on a football field, not basketball. And college kids should be able to have fun. Security measures have to be in place. They dropped the ball. That's what happened.
But there's a way. But that's your point. It's like most people have figured this out. Just because Curry has decided not to does not make it everyone's thing. And I'm still convinced because this did just happen with Caitlin Clark, who is arguably the biggest star in all of college basketball, men or women's right now. And there wasn't nearly as big of a deal made about it. It's because this is one of the 5 programs on the planet where somebody would raise a stink because it happened, and it happened to be Duke. If this were the other way around and it had happened to Houston, that was a top team in the country at some point, someone had stormed the court against Houston, and this happened, we wouldn't even be talking about it.
Yeah, Filipowski after the game said it was intentional as well. That's what rubbed me the wrong way. No, it's a bunch of young college kids running full speed ahead. They didn't. Anybody could have been standing there. It's unfortunate that it happened. Glad to hear that it's just a sprained ankle, but we don't. Jay Billis today suggesting that they need to arrest and give out citations to kids. Thanks to Q filling in for Drew. Full show back at it tomorrow. The Drive with CDOT.